La la la. Are working? La. Yeah, we go. That's working. Like I have any idea what I'm doing. Welcome back to the Supercars chat show where I just talk about supercars non-stop for 3 hours apparently. There's my phone going off letting me know that I need to mute it when I do this. So we got a few things to talk about. Obviously, like the Fabian Coulthard stuff, which I want to get into later because then maybe someone will be watching when I'm talking about that. But then, what else? There's a few things. We got Nick Percat possibly leaving MSR, which I think is a load of crap, and we've also got my thing about Fabian Coulthard, the new podcast with Will Brown and Brody Kostecki. What else? Yeah, Fabian Coulthard, Nick Percat, and the Will Brown Brody Kostecki thing, which would be really good if I wrote all of that down. I'm going to write that down on a Word document so I don't forget everything. It'd probably be better if I just rattled it off now, but maybe my guy who shows up most of the time might drop in, so I'll give him time to pop in. But yeah, the Will Brown Brody Kostecki podcast was actually pretty good. What the fuck? Oh, AI and Word, go away. So Will Brown Brody Kostecki podcast. We've got Scott Pye at QR. We've got Nick Percat leaving MSR. And something else that I forgot. Oh yeah, Fabian Coulthard. Because I think that he wasn't that bad. I think, yeah. Alright, so I guess I'll just go through everything. So yeah, the Will Brown Brody Kostecki podcast called the Lucky Dogs podcast came out on Will Brown's YouTube channel today. And I thought it was great. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I didn't even realize it had Brody Kostecki in it. It just said the Lucky Dogs podcast. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's got Will Brown in it. It could be good. And then, oh, it's got Brody Kostecki in it too. Okay, this will be really good. Because, like, I guess they just have really good chemistry. And they, like, talked about how they started getting to know each other and how they became friends. That stuff was really cool. And the Speak Cafe have written an article based on the freaking podcast already, talking about, oh, here's some juicy inside stuff on what's going on at Erebus, but we kind of knew like all of that. It wasn't really anything. I thought it was cool hearing about some of their own, like what they were experiencing during that time. Like, they're about to go to the Bend, I think, in 2023. They're about to go to the Tailem Bend round. That was coming up. And Brody, like that, or they were down at Norwell or something, and Brody was about to go and do his American round of NASCAR, and then he's on the phone trying to sort stuff out or talking to people about all the drama, which is interesting. And Will Brown said that Erebus just didn't feel sustainable as a competitive team, which is an interesting thing to think about. And I think they also talked about what it takes to make a team. Like, it's not just like the difference between all the teams up and down pit lane is processes and infrastructure, like the things that those teams do, not car parts and things like that. It's what they do to make the team competitive. Like when you talk about AAA, I think Will Brown was talking about the same thing that Scotty Pye talks about, which is that what is it? The drivers are not treated like everything is on them. They feel like they're actually getting supported. Like sometimes the engineer screws things up, sometimes the mechanic screws things up, and everyone feels comfortable to stick their hands up and say, "Yeah, stuffed up. Sorry, guys." and then everyone can get on with their lives and then move on to working out ways to improve things rather than saying, he might be on the chopping block soon. He's done a bad job. He's gone. Which is sort of what it feels like with David Reynolds at Team 18. But he could stay. Who knows? So that was a thing that Will Brown brought up, is like, which I think we had that at Townsville where Andrew Edwards said he's a great driver. We're just not quite getting the car right. And so I thought that was good. What else? Did they talk about anything else? They talked about Super 2 cars, and Super 2 is interesting. Like, you can when you go and you look in the Super 2 paddock at the rounds. I think the only rounds that I've been to are Adelaide 500 ones. It really feels like they're pretty limited in what they have. And it's pretty similar with like Carrera Cup and the support categories. Like, you might technically be run by the same team, but you kind of feel like you're on your own. And that stuff was interesting. And an idea popped into my head. So in 2020 Adelaide, for the Adelaide 500, Will Brown was driving for Image Racing and Brodie was driving for Eggleston. And something that it didn't occur to me at the time, but they'd be under brakes at the end of Wakefield Street, and the only car that wasn't squealing under brakes was Will Brown. And so my thought was, maybe Will Brown's was like a new car, and that all the other cars were running used pads or used discs or whatever it was because it's practice. They're not actually pushing. So in qualifying, everyone puts their new pads and new discs on, assuming that that's the way the braking system works in Super 2, that they actually have a brake system like that, which I assume they do, because I don't know of any other kind of system that exists. So that's just a thought that I sort of realized that, maybe Will Brown had a brand new, maybe not a brand new Super 2 car, but obviously different from what he was driving at Eggleston. And I think Image is one of those teams where maybe they're getting like Erebus support, so getting special. Like, were they getting suspension components in 2019 when Jordan Boyce started winning races? I'm gonna check that. I reckon it was 2019 Super 2. Super 2 Championship. And I'll show that for a hot second. Yep. Boom. Okay, so we got 2019 Super 2. So we know Brodie. Now, Brodie mentioned something that sort of confused me, and I think Will was a bit confused as well. So this is 2019. Brodie actually won races in Adelaide. 4th, 1st, 2nd, then 18th and 5th at Barbagallo. I guess just didn't have the best time in that first race. I don't know, something might have happened. Maybe an issue with his car. I do remember Jake Kostecki doing really well, and then missed out the last 2 rounds because they decided to commit to the wild card. So we got a bit more inside idea of like what they were having to do to make their racing program work, that Brodie talked about, where so they had all these AAA cars, but they were working on them, and they had what they say like 2 other guys working on them in was it 2018, I think, and in 2019. Is it 2019? Yeah, 2019. So you see Jordan Boyce with the Image car starts winning races. So they're working on their Super 2 cars, and then they're like, committing to the wild card. And the wild card was obviously a main game car, different spec, being a ZB car, a ZB Commodore, and different requirements for that sort of car compared to the Super 2 car. Like that, I'm not sure if they don't require changes, or if they're just like older cars. But yeah, it's a bit not completely clear, I think. Yeah, so we've got Will Brown had a terrible 2019 as well. So 2018, 2019 weren't great for him. He did win his first race, but I think he just had issues. I think he had like mechanical failures as well. Who else I got? Justin Ruggier who managed to beat Will Brown. Anybody else driving for Eggleston that year? No. Kurt came second, but he was driving for Triple Eight, and he got Brenton Grove down there, also driving for Triple Eight, but had a few issues. Don't know if they were crashes, whatever they were. But I do remember Image Racing becoming competitive. So Jordan Boyce was like their main guy. I think Adam Marjoram was the other one, and he was like well done, well down the order. He should have been better, but just maybe didn't quite have it compared to Jordan Boyce. So Boyce goes on to win at Sandown, and then almost wins the round at Newcastle, but Bryce Forward knocks him off and wins that as well. Thomas Randall was just a bit inconsistent. They go to like a couple of tracks where Tickford have got it all worked out, apart from Newcastle. Apparently, for some reason, they had pace there. 2020, Jordan Boys was competitive enough, but Will Brown was just way better. Maybe a better driver, we don't know, but yeah. And Brody had a chance at the championship. They had like an incident in that first race at Sydney, and then withdrew from Bathurst. And Brody was saying that kind of saved him because he was not going to be able to. He was going to be scraping through. He wasn't really going to be able to. It's just sort of funny. And apparently, he had a bit of an ego about himself, saying, "Oh, I either win with like I'm winning races for these guys, or I'm winning races for you, or something like that." And so I thought that was funny. I'm like, all right, Brody, bit of an ego. And he realized that like it's such a dick thing to say. Oh, I'm so good. Who do you want me to drive for? And Will Brown had a battle for the championship with Thomas Randall, but Randall was fast. It was basically Randall and Brody swapping positions, all Adelaide 500. It was really close. It was intense. And Will was just sort of picking up the pieces. I think something happened to Brody in the third race there. But then after that, because Brody didn't do the third round, that was as good as that was the end of the championship for him, pretty much. But I think he was a bit out of it after Sydney. That ninth place probably hurt him a lot. Yeah, and then Jordan Boys is up there, not winning races though. And Will Brown was, which I thought was interesting. I remember in 2021 where is he? I think it was qualifying. I think something like that. Car was really really battered looking. And came back for the race. I'm like, wow, that doesn't look quite as good. So I think that like Super 2 teams don't quite have the resources to make a car look brand new again so easily. Maybe they don't have the something to produce the wrap or whatever they need to make it look spring clean again. So yeah, that was interesting. They did back-to-backs at Townsville in 2021 there. It's interesting. I didn't realise Super 2 went back-to-back there. But I do remember they got disqualified, and MW was it MW? No, Image Racing got really upset about it. Terry Wyhoon, and they got really upset about it, and they went to was it the commission or something about it, and just couldn't get. It was maybe they were doing something, and so they got disqualified over something to do with the way they set the cars up or parts or something. And so, yeah, so they had to go back to a different spec and weren't quite good enough until the next time they went to Bathurst, unfortunately. But that is interesting, really. And Andrew Mazuris is an interesting case for a guy that just like he should have had. Clearly had like talent at Triple Eight, but I guess the pressure or something got to him. I think it was Adelaide, not Adelaide, Bathurst in qualifying at the last round of the year, and he just like locked up and crashed and wiped himself out of the round because of that. Like I think the pressure really got to him, and so like you've got this like really talented driver who needs really good support to become a really good driver. I think was it the second race at Bathurst at the start of the year that he switched to number 6 because of his mate, something like that. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting little stories. Like Josh Fife drove for MW for most of the year and just couldn't quite get it together. Then switched to Eggleston for the last round, and then I think that was the end of it. I think that was the end of it for him. Um, Aaron Seaton's been confirmed as the wildcard co-driver, which sounds like they didn't really. He wasn't the one they wanted, but then they were like, "We can't get the guy we want. Hey, Sito, do you want to drive?" He goes, "Yeah, sure, I'll drive." So I don't know. I don't know how good Aaron Seaton was in the one Bathurst that he's done in 2022. He might have been okay. I'm not sure if he was great though. But when you're running your own show, it's probably harder to demonstrate that you're a good driver when you're spending so much time working on the cars instead. He's pretty much was just like his dad, just having to work on his own cars, except Glenn really liked doing it and having that kind of control. Whereas I don't know if Aaron's the same, but Glenn Seaton definitely liked being hands-on and he liked being involved in the management of the team as well. Obviously a difficult thing to do. When you run your own team for that long, for like 15 years, it's really hard to disconnect from that and just be like, I don't know, I'm just a driver. It's probably really hard to disconnect from that, especially when if you got like a skill set and knowledge and you can bring that in and say, hey, this is what we need to do, and this will actually solve a lot of our problems. But instead, that you just get ignored, which is what he was feeling, Glenn Seaton, when he was at Dick Johnson Racing and FPR, was other people thought that they knew better, and they didn't, he said. And, obviously they didn't know better because they weren't winning races and they weren't getting the results that they were hoping for. But at the same time, maybe Glenn Seaton wasn't as good a driver, and I think he even acknowledged it. I think was it his crash in 2001. It was a big crash. I think it was at Phillip Island. Or was it in 2000? And since then, he just wasn't able to deliver the same results. I guess maybe an element of fear came in. Like he knows what it's like to have a really nasty wreck, and he felt like maybe that fear just creeps in. Once that fear creeps in, you go, ooh, maybe I'm going to back off a little bit. Instead of being that gutsy race driver that just has a really good go, brakes later, accelerates earlier, and, really has a go and rags the thing, and doesn't worry about whether the car's going to drop out from underneath him. And that's kind of what every team is always looking for. And as soon as they feel like, this guy doesn't quite have it, then that's the end of it. Paul Dumbrell retired from at the end of 2018 because after his crash at Gold Coast, because he said felt like he didn't quite have it anymore, and it sort of coincided with Craig Lowndes' entry being closed up because they couldn't find something to. I think there was rumours Simona Di Silvestro was possibly going to be put into that third Triple Eight entry, but maybe she couldn't quite get it together to make it happen. I think it was Paul Morris or somebody who was talking about it, saying she should have done it and done whatever it would have taken. But it's difficult. All right, so we're 20 minutes in. So I talked about the Will Brown podcast, Lucky Dogs. We got Scott Pye go on a QR, and this is going to be interesting. I haven't seen there was a show. I'm going to tell my phone to shut up. There was I haven't haven't seen the latest Apex Hunters podcast yet, so I don't know if he talked about it. But I did read an article where he's saying, "Oh, I'm going to be different. I'm going to be better. I'm not going to be just another." Sure, sure, Scotty. Sure, sure. Like, I bet you will. I'm looking forward to it because I'm like, all right, Scotty, you think you're so great? You can walk in and be like, I'm special. I'm different. This is the way things should be. What's he going to do? Walk in and trash the commentary? What's he actually going to bring that's going to make a difference? Garth Tander's doing a great job. What does Scotty think he's going to do that's going to change anything? I do not see him making a big difference, but I guess we'll see. And that's what the exciting thing is that what's he going to do? What's he going to say? So, has he already got ideas of what he's going to do? Because he's been in the pit lane as a driver. He knows what these extra commentators can do, but he's just going to be another commentator, isn't he? So what's he really going to say? I don't remember Frosty making a big difference. He was just there. I can't remember who he was talking to. Was it Tassie? I think it was Brock Feeney talking to Frosty and Garth, I think. After Tassie. So I think that was that round. What else? Nick Percat leaving MSR. This is another Speed Cafe article. And it had no substance. It had nothing going for it. It just said, oh, Nick Percat might be leaving MSR. And there was no evidence. They just said, oh, he might be leaving, No, MSR aren't ruling it out. And then they give you the quote. But they don't really say anything. That all Matt Stone said was, the silly season throws up anything. You could have been Speed Cafe trying to feed something and get him to respond to something to make a headline, and it's just so dumb. Obviously Nick Percat's not having a great season, but I don't think MSR want to get rid of him because how did he go at Townsville? He did a pretty solid job. Right, Cam Hill didn't do any better. He didn't do much better. So I don't see a reason why. I don't think Nick Percat's blaming the team. I think he's pretty happy at MSR. He's not happy about the season he's having. He has scored a podium and got a trophy. So it's not a Walkinshaw year. It's not an LD. I mean, Walkinshaw he got podium for. LDM he got podium for. Every team he's driven for, he's got a podium for. But I don't think 2025 MSR is anything is reasonably compared to 2022, 2023 Walkinshaw or 2015, 2016 LDM. MSR is better than that. So I don't think he feels that bad. He is battling in the mid-pack and maybe struggling to extract the speed that he needs. But he's not having such a bad season that he needs to leave. I think they even said, MSR said it's up to Nick, basically. So it's a load of rubbish, and it's Speed Cafe trying to make a headline that actually add nothing. We're hearing, Cam Hill's going to go to BJR to drive a Toyota. Why? Are we going to see to replace Bryce Forward, which is so stupid, right? Imagine a guy doing such a good job for your team, and Cam Hill brings his own sponsors. We know that. Bryce is bringing sponsors. He's bringing middies. I don't know if he brought Shaw or what exactly the arrangement is at BJR, how you bring sponsorship in. I heard that Todd Hazelwood was supposed to bring his own sponsors, and so that was what he was in charge of in 2020 and 21. That Todd Hazelwood brought his own sponsors, and he basically was like, "Here's a blank car, put some stickers on it to make your weekend happen." And obviously Bryce for the first 3 years had middies, and then select weekends this year he's got middies. But I don't know. I don't think Bryce Ford should be kicked to the curb just because a guy who won a race this year is available. That's just like, one guy who can bring sponsorship versus another guy who can bring sponsorship. Unless, and I think Cam Hill brings Superglass, and so that's one that he could bring to BJR if he even is leaving. But Speed Cafe seems to be saying that that's what's going on. I'm just not happy about it. I don't like the idea. I think it's a lot like Cam Waters going from Tickford to Walkinshaw. You're going from one team where you got to where you know the package, you know the situation, and going to another team where you really don't know. Like MSR versus BJR, as far as I'm concerned, they're so similar that it's almost pointless to change to one. So, you can get podiums for MSR, you can get podiums for BJR, but that's about as good as it gets. MSR at Albert Park, they seem to just suddenly do well. Was it? They did it last year. They did it this year. Same deal at Tassie. It just suddenly do well. MSR have actually got a history of doing well at Tassie, which is interesting. Since 2021, Zane Goddard got into, was it top 10 shootout? Top 10 shootout? Top 15 shootout? No, it was progressive qualifying. So it was Q3 that Goddard got into. Started 5th or something crazy. Jack Smith also got on there. So there was something about some people just got lucky and nailed their laps. And so, yeah, Zane Goddard put it up there in 2021. 2022, Jack LeBrock comes in, slams it on the front row, but then he crashes during the first race and then has like a pretty messed up car for the one he actually has front row starting. Nails the start, and I think it was the second lap, the thing just broke down under him, the front uprights or whatever, they broke down, and so he ended up in the pits for, I don't know if he finished that race, but there is, I think Hazelwood was in the mix like all weekend as well in 22 for MSR. Then in 23, obviously both Cam Hill and Jack LeBrock were doing well at Tassie. So MSR have got a pretty strong history of being good at Tassie. So some teams have got that certain track they just rock up and nail it. Bit like Tickford at Adelaide. You can be pretty sure that Cam Waters will be in there, and the last 2 years, Randall's been in there. But then even 2019, 2018, they've had cars that have been really good at Adelaide. It's just the way they build their cars, way they set them up. A bit like we used to say Triple Eight at Townsville, but not this year, and not really in Gen 3. Really, Townsville's probably been a tricky track for the Gen 3 car, I guess. It's an interesting one. I want to look that up actually. 2023, unless I'm forgetting something crucial that happened at Townsville. I do remember like Brock Feeney, I think, being up there at Townsville. Yeah, Will Brown won one of the races. So SVG didn't get on the podium at Townsville. Brock Feeney got on the podium once. So they weren't like unstoppable at all. It was pretty much anyone's track. Chaz Mostert was good. Andre Heimgartner managed to get on the podium. Anton De Pasquale obviously did the 3-stopper with a much better tyre bank than everyone else because he didn't finish the first race. Alright, so yeah, 2023 wasn't great. Hang on, I'll show the thing. In case anyone wants to watch. If you're tuning in, that's fine. 2024, Townsville. Waters and Mostert, obviously, but that Will Brown got on the podium once, and Brock Feeney didn't get on it at all. So it's not a Triple A track anymore, really. And in this year, they obviously had a really bad qualifying and couldn't make it happen, really. Apart from Brock Feeney managed to win win 2 of the races. It's not like he qualified 15th and then went straight to second or something in the first race. It was hard fought and not easy to get. Although it is interesting that guys who got on the podium for the Friday race did not have cars to fight for the podium in the Saturday and Sunday races. So that probably tells you a bit more about whether their cars were actually good for it or not. Like, they're only good for the 40. How many laps is this Friday race? Let's say 100k, so half distance, make it like 35 laps. So that, I guess that was as good as how good their cars were, and maybe these other teams just couldn't quite make it happen that quickly. I think Chaz had really bad qualifying on the Friday, and I think Ryan Wood did as well. But I can't remember actually, because now I'm going off the top of my head. My post-Townsville thing was a lot more detailed than this. Yeah. All right. So I'll start going through my subjects again. Where was I? So I talked about Nick Percat leaving MSR, which I think is a load of crap, and I think that it's not going to happen. Scott Pye at QR is going to be like, you can talk it up, Scotty, but we're just going to see. We're going to actually see whether you're all talk or not. Which I didn't actually watch the Apex Hunters podcast. I think it came out 3 days ago, so I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen exactly what he had to say, and I'm not sure if he even mentioned it in that one, but I imagine he probably did. Then the Lucky Dogs podcast as well. I talked about that earlier. That was a pleasant surprise, really. I didn't realize that Brody Kostecki was in it. It just said the Lucky Dogs podcast, and I was like, okay, something with Will Brown sounds good. Bit of a change. Let's go. And then I had Brody Kostecki in it, and I'm like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. And so I was really, really happy to see that happened. All right. So yeah, I did talk about all of that stuff earlier. So now I'm going to talk about the Fabian Coulthard thing, because we were talking about it last stream last weekend, talking about how good Fabian Coulthard was, and that it wasn't good enough to be in DGR Team Penske. But there's a few things that I forgot about in the moment, which was like the first thing is like the 1.5 car team. But in 2017, Fabian was actually really good against Scotty. He wasn't as fast, obviously, but he was really good in the races. So I'm going to find 2017 Supercars Championship, and then I'll show that, and I'll go into detail, because there's a few important relationships when it comes to Fabian. The big one is Phil Keed. So Phil Keed was Fabian's engineer at Brad Jones Racing. I think they switched in 2013 or something like that, mid-year, where things just weren't quite working on Bridie's car. I think it was 2013, 2014. I think like something like that. They just weren't vibing right on Jason Bright's car. So Phil Keed went to Fabian's car, and they really started to click. And so things were going so well with that when Fabian moved to DJR Team Penske, Phil Keed went with him. And so they were really good in those 2 years that they were together at DJR Team Penske. But then at some point, I think it was for 2018, DJR Team Penske said, we're not happy with the way things are working in an engineering front in terms of the direction they wanted the cars to go in. So Phil Keed was told he was put on gardening leave for 2018. And so, money in the bank, but you don't have to go to work. How good is that? But Phil Keed likes being an engineer, and he likes just being a race engineer. So he had opportunities to be, I think he was technical director at Team 18, but he just likes to be a race engineer, and that's what he's happy with. he's been with Bryce Forward, and they've got a good thing going, and so that's what he likes to do. But because Phil Keed was benched by Team Penske, Fabian in 2018 started to struggle, and they put him in a new car, new engineer, and I guess the thing with Mark Fanning just wasn't quite as good as what he had with Phil Keed, and the way they set up the cars in 2017 versus 2018, 19, 20 was not the same. It was maybe more geared towards what Scotty liked, and so Fabian looked a lot worse than he was. He still had an incredible ability to launch the car off the line, and he carried that through to Team Sydney, where he would vault 5 positions straight off the start and just pick up a bunch of spots, driving this absolute shitbox that's way too old to be on the grid and hasn't had an upgrade in 7 years. That was what he was dealing with at Team Sydney and managing to do a good job. He was still able to do that at DJR Team Penske, but he just didn't have they weren't able to make the race car as good, or even the qualifying car as good, because of something to do with the way they set the cars up. He was still really good at BJR. 2013, 14, 15, he was the spearhead at BJR, and he was getting race wins. I'm not sure about pole positions, but he was really good for those years. So that's my defense of Fabian Coulthard. I don't think he deserves to be seen as a has-been. He just sort of ended up in a situation where it's like, okay, this is the best place you've ever been in your career, but we're not going to support you next year. We're going to go in the Scott McLaughlin direction, which is not a Triple Eight thing. Like, Triple Eight don't do stuff like that, but DJ Team Penske did. And so when a team decides to gear everything around one driver, they end up abandoning that other driver and saying, yeah, good luck, buddy. We're giving you this car, which doesn't quite suit you anymore. And I remember 2019 they were saying, the Mustang's really going to suit Fabian, and it didn't really. He put it on pole on the first race, and then just wasn't quite able to get close enough. It was better in 2019 than it was in 2018, but 2018 I feel like only 2 guys were good that year, and those are the guys with like the best engineer relationships, and also like 2 freakish talents in Chaz Mostert and Scott McLaughlin. Fabian, like Cam Waters, Frosty, and Richie Stanaway, just struggled all year. But Fabian was able to do a really good job here in 2013, 2014 with BJR. Not quite the same, obviously. Did a bit of struggle, but still racking up podiums and still getting a good job and finishing top 10 of the championship. But it's there are so many factors that go into why one team does better than the other team. There's plenty going on. 2015, I think he was still up. I think he was slightly better than 2014, but obviously he won at Adelaide. It's just racking up podiums, doing a great job. No poles in 2015 though, but I don't think the BJR cars were capable of pole. They were just capable of grabbing a podium every now and then. Even QR there, he's just got 1 top 10. So sometimes the cars just weren't even close. And so he's probably happy to move to JR Team Penske. I think it was around Bathurst they were announcing it. So maybe he just felt like the resources were going to be better at DJ Team Penske. Yeah. So that's my thing on Fabian Coulthard. Not saying he's the best driver ever. I'm just saying, and it took him a while, but he's one of those drivers that he drove for teams that were sort of like battlers. He drove for Paul Cruikshank Racing, where he did a really good job, and that drew him to perhaps the resources of Walkinshaw. He got the opportunity from Paul Morris, but then he got the launching pad from Paul Cruikshank, where they were like, "This is the guy we want," and they put everything into that 2008 year. 2009, he had a teammate, and they just weren't quite able to continue things beyond 2009. got picked up by Walkinshaw, which with a funded car, so gets picked up as a professional, but I guess maybe he didn't need to bring too much money to the other drives. Goes to Walkinshaw, where they just weren't as good as they might have been back in 2007. Like Walkinshaw could not run two teams. So, Fabian came in. 2010, they had two cars like they did in 2009. But then they dropped it down to one for 2011. And then Fabian got picked up by BJR to drive for maybe a better resource team. Maybe not necessarily better resource in terms of BJR were going in a better direction, and he probably looked at Jason Bright's results and thought, this is where I need to be for my future. I can't be here at Walkinshaw because they're never going to put me in a HRT car where I'm going to be able to get podiums and pole positions potentially, and maybe even a race win. So he goes to BJR going, this team is getting better every year. So, I'm in with a shot here. And he also would have seen Jason Barguana wasn't doing too bad either. So, in 2011, he saw, hey, BJR is not too bad. Let's go there. And he was immediately there with their man. I think I'll get my PowerPoint presentation going. And Fabian was just immediately good at that team. So I think that it was like the double-edged sword. Is it double-edged sword the right word? DJ Team Penske? Is that the right metaphor? Or maybe every rose has its thorn. That could probably be it. That might be a better metaphor. But it's like, oh, look, they've got resources. They're really tipping money in here. They're signing all the best guys. And DJR Team Penske were willing to completely transplant the number 14 entry from Brad Jones Racing and put it in the number 12 car for BJR, or for DJR Team Penske. So, that was what was going to work for them. And so that's an attractive option to say, hey, we're not just going to sign you. We're going to sign your engineer, your co-driver, maybe even grab a couple mechanics too. I've got a photo. Actually, it's a great photo. Where do I keep my photos? It's in DJR, I think. Yeah, that one. All right. Oh. All right. Yeah. I need to remember how to do things. All right. I'll do it like this. And 2016 was also the year that DJ Team Penske signed Adam DeBore. They're like, we want the best, and they were willing to spend the money to do it. So, stupid computer. This is irritating me, actually. I guess I'll just do this. This isn't going to cause me any issues. I'll move this. This is annoying. Yeah. So you got Fabian in the background there next to Phil Keed. You've got Luke Yilden there in the race suit. Roger Penske. I'm not sure about all the other people in the background. I don't know who they are. But Phil Keed, Fabian Coulthard, and Luke Yilden were all all at BJR in 2015, and so that probably attracted Fabian across to go, yeah, but we're going to bring your engineer and we're going to bring your co-driver too, because I guess Luke Yilden used to be really good as a co-driver apparently, or at least Fabian was happy with him, and I think what was it? Luke Hilton ended up getting the boot from DJR Tim Penske in for 2017, and they put Tony D'Alberto in. Well, they moved him across to Fabian's car. D'Alberto was with Scott Pye in 2016. But obviously, I'd mentioned Phil Keed got the boot, not even the boot, he got put on gardening leave at the end of 2017. Fabian got to stay, but and I guess he was sort of hopeful that DGR Team Penske were going to move things in the right direction for him, but it ended up not working out. So obviously, he was pretty upset in 2021 when that people he must have been copping some real criticism, and he was, because people were saying in 2018, oh, they got to replace Fabian and put Chaz in the car. And it's like, well, he must have felt really betrayed. Been they're moving everything into Scotty's territory, and I'm getting shafted here. But it's like, where are you going to go? You're going to go drive for another team where you can't get those results? I mean, at least he was still getting the occasional podium and the occasional race win. He just wasn't going to be able to challenge for the championship because they weren't giving him what he wanted. And he had what he wanted. Whoopsies. In 2017. So, he's he wasn't that bad. He went to Townsville and struggled. I don't know what happened there, but there would be stuff that happened at Townsville. Maybe he didn't qualify that well. I might look at that later. What else? I was watching some 2006 stuff, as you do. Watching HRT have the fastest car and the worst time. But how close that championship was in 2006. I think I'm in the process of watching through Oran Park. I watched Queensland Race where Garth Tander just smashed everyone, and Craig Lowndes was close enough that when Garth had a DNF in the first race at Oran Park, that Craig Lowndes was immediately in the championship lead. And then you look at they talk about the reverse grid races, how terrible they were because they just racked up the crash bill and made racing too expensive. But what it showed me was that the drivers were not good at racecraft. They were just banging into one another and damaging the cars. I'm not sure it would have been like that in if we did it today. But I'm also not advocating that we have reverse grid races because I think things are fine the way they are. We don't necessarily need a shake up of the grid at all, really. The racing is good. You still got guys at the back racing against the guys at the front. It's still happening. You're still seeing James Courtney was fifth on was it the Saturday? No. When was he fifth? The Friday? He was really good. That's what I'm saying. Why do I not have the 2025 Supercars Championship Wikipedia page on? Alright, James Courtney was fifth. He was in P5 when he DNF'd. That's what was happening. So I don't know what the hell's wrong with this stupid screen. It does not want to work. Stupid thing. Yeah, the guys at the back can race against the guys at the front, and if that's possible, the racing's fine. I think Will Brown and Brody Kostecki were talking about how they don't really have a bad team anymore. I think part of that was the reduction of the number of entries in the championship when, was it 2019? Something like that, where I can't remember what year it was, but I think it was when was it Team Sydney? I don't know. When some teams switch things up, they um, oh, maybe it was Kelly Racing, 2019 to 2020, when there was a bunch of shuffling of the wrecks. When Gary Rogers withdrew from the championship, I think they sold one wreck and another one moved to. They got one went to MSR, one went to Team 18. And I think something else happened. Maybe it was 2020 to 21 when Tickford dropped to. Oh, maybe it was last year when Tickford dropped to. Yeah, I'm getting lost here now. Whenever that reduction in the overall field happened, because we used to have 26 cars and it's dropped to 24 cars. When that happened, as far as I'm concerned, the championship is better funded. You're not seeing any stragglers. No one's unable to compete. No one is unable to challenge. There are obviously the same people who are up the front because they're the best teams and the best drivers. But yeah, that idea is gone. The idea that if you drive for them, you're P nowhere, you're wasting your time. There's no team like that anymore. You obviously wouldn't want to drive for BRT. That's not the most attractive option at the moment. It's not the worst option. The worst option is just not doing it at all and missing out, which there are plenty of young drivers missing out. But what was Supercars Talks? His predictions for the grid. He always has the wildest ones. Did he say get rid of Bryce Forward and David Reynolds? I think he did. And I thought you are on crack. Like you need to tone it down. He was just saying wild things like that, and like bring this rookie and bring that rookie in. I am not a supporter of bringing new blood in every year, which is what he is kind of saying is like, we got too many old guys on the grid. I'm pretty sure the average age of the supercars field has been going down since 2021, like younger and younger and younger. What the last two championship winners are in their 20s. Basically since Shane Van Gisbergen left, 2023 Brody Kostecki, 26 years old? 2024 Will Brown, 25, 26, 27 years old, however old he is. They're young guys and they're winning championships. That's great. And didn't we just have a new record of the youngest podium as well at Darwin? Kai Allen and was it Kai Allen, Matt Payne, and Brock Feeney? They're all in their like early 20s. Kai Allen, I think, was 19. Was he 19 or he just turned 20 before Townsville? But yeah, we got plenty of young blood in supercars. We don't need more young blood. I don't think young blood is the solution to everyone's problems. As long as we've got a competitive championship, which we do, like even James Courtney, if James Courtney can still stick it up the front, which we know he can occasionally do, and sometimes Will Davison's up there. It might not feel like quite often enough, but even at Townsville, he's qualifying in the top 10 in every single race. And he got a podium at Taupo, and he's still in the mix. It was not like in 2022 where you had a bunch of guys who've been in the series for 15 years. We lost Mark Winterbottom last year, at the end of last year, but rightfully so. We lost Tim Slade. We're running out of those guys that were just about to jump into their 40s. And James Courtney's going to retire and somebody else is going to take his seat, probably a young guy. And every year since 2002, we've had a rookie. So there is no deficiency of young blood in supercars. I just think that some people just think that it's the solution. That, we need more young guys in. Young guys need opportunities. Everybody needs an opportunity, but not everyone's going to get the opportunity. You have to. It's what is it? What do you say? Best dressed, first served, right? If you rock up with an appealing pitch to say, "Hey, I'm bringing some sponsors. I've just racked up a couple wins in Super 2. I've got a pretty solid looking resume. And then they have a look at him. Oh, he's got some runs on the board at Bathurst. He's rocked up there a couple of times. We might put him in. Which is why Zach Best is trying to get back into Bathurst, is because he needs to keep on showing up. I think we're hearing something about Jaden Ojeda going to MSR as well. He's chucking his hat in the ring. Good. That's what you have to do. You can't just get free handouts. That's not what we're here for. We're not here for free handouts. We're here for somebody to rock up and do a really good job. I did a whole video on this, and I'll rant about it until the day I die. There are opportunities out there. You just have to go and get them. Right? They're not looking for you in particular. You have to find them and say, "Hey, have a look at me." And that's what you have to do. Otherwise, they're gonna forget about you. They're gonna look at the next young guy coming through. Rylan Gray's coming through. He's very impressive and he's very young, which is like something that people are really attracted to. But apparently, he hasn't got a lot of sponsorship behind him. He's driving a Waters Whiskey Mustang, which I don't know about you, but I'm not under the impression that it's a well-funded car, apart from Tickford are putting stickers on there because they're investing in Rylan Gray. They know that he's got what it takes. He's like another Kai Allen. He's just like a bit younger. He made his Super 3 debut. He did like one round, which was at Adelaide 2023. And then last year, rocked up in Super 2, racked up some results. I think, did he get his first win? He's been really good. So I think Rylan Gray is really good, and that people need to take a punt on him. But it's not going to happen immediately. Because there are other options. Team 18 are looking at Harry Jones. Okay, Rylan Gray did not get. Hang on, I'm going to bring that up. So there we go. Rylan Gray got a couple of podiums at Bathurst. That's what he got. So this year he's broken through for race wins. But he's up there, like immediately 4th, 6th. 2023, I'm pretty sure. He did that last round at Adelaide in the Super 3 car. Job Stewart, Kim McLeod. Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, I remember that. Super 3. Rylan Gray, last round at Adelaide, 2nd in the first race. Against, second from Cameron McLeod. And I can't believe that Cameron McLeod lost that championship. He was the best guy by a mile. Job Stewart was like constantly getting beaten by him. And then Luxin, and because Cam McLeod had such a shocker at Sandown, it was his to lose, and he won the next 4 races and still lost the championship. And sometimes that's all it takes. It's just sort of devastating, but it's like he's the people's champion. Cam McLeod, except 2024 at Sandown, he kind of maybe proved some other people right, which is not great. Mason Kelly. I think Mason Kelly, he's got to get closer. He's good, but he's not close enough. So yeah, Rylan Gray came in and he was immediately pretty good, driving an FGX Falcon Super 3, which no one had bothered with for a while. And starts just putting some results together. Had a pretty crappy one at a couple of races. Really bad Perth for some reason, and a really bad, bad as in DNF and 18th isn't great. But it's also Super 2. Like, you kind of need to be racking up top 10s every race to make a good impression. Then we go 2025. And look, 2025 is an insane Super 2 season because you got four Tickford drivers, 4 Tickford entries, and is it 5 Eggleston cars? And the results vary so much race on race. But Rylan Gray is just racking up those results like he needs to. And that's the makings of a champion. That's the makings of a future Supercars champion. And Tickford know that. And I mean, you can even see Rylan Gray. I can't remember what the series is called. It's GT4. He was driving a Mustang at Queensland Raceway in GT4, and they had like an enduro thing, and it was at Pro Am, I think it was. So every entry you got a pro driver in Rylan Gray, and then you got like an amateur driver, like some sort of gentleman driver. I can't remember who the other guy was. Basically, when Rylan Gray was in there, he was really good. And then the other guy would get in and it'd be like, just hold position, mate, just hold position, do the 20 laps. Rylan Gray gets back in, drags her back up the front. He's really good. And you can see it just in terms of the results. You win a championship out of consistency, not out of just winning the most races. We saw that just then. We're looking at Cam McLeod in Super 3. So, yeah, that's that guy. I need to mute my phone before it implodes. Yeah, shut up, phone. I don't know why that button wants to stay open. That's irritating. Yeah, Super 3 is insane. There's like a lot of really good drivers. Like Ben Gomersall's really good. It looks like he didn't have a great time for the next 2 rounds, but I didn't actually watch the Super 2 for the next few races. I've just been like pretty aware that it's insane. And it was insane at Sydney too. It was like one race compared to the other was such a wild difference. You rarely have one guy staying up the front like he should be. Like, if Zach Bates is so good, why is he barely scraping a result? Cody Bircher is beating him just on consistency, but it looks like it's only a race win difference. You just have to have a slightly better weekend and then boom, you're ahead. But it's just a crazy championship going on. Then, was it Brad Vaughan's is going to be a BJR as a co-driver, and that stuff frustrates me. Like, money shouldn't be the solution. It shouldn't be he brings money, therefore let's give him the seat. Like, Jay Robotham is a really good co-driver, a really solid co-driver. And he was good at MSR, he was good at BJR, and Brad Vaughan rocks up with a bag of cash. And Brad Vaughan's from South Australia. I'm from South Australia. And I'm like, look, it's not about where you're from. It should be about how good you are. If you are so talented behind the wheel, you should get the opportunity. But you have to go chasing those opportunities. And, Brad Vaughan has had those opportunities and taken them. And, that's been good. And he's demonstrated pace at Tickford when he was there in Super 2 for a couple of years and just wasn't able to stitch together those results. That stuff's annoying. But it's so competitive that you really need to be making those big improvements, it looks almost impossible for someone to do that in Super 2 this year, but it's probably making Rylan Gray look that good that, Nash Morris is second, and he hasn't been anywhere near as close to the front as Rylan Gray. Ruben Goodall's done a surprisingly good job, but maybe he just didn't have a good enough car. That was another thing that Brody Kostecki and Will Brown were talking about in the Lucky Dogs podcast, was they said that when they went from that Brody was driving a Project Blueprint Falcon in 2017. I wasn't really aware of that. I didn't realize that the cars didn't compare. I just noticed that he had like worse results compared to Todd Hazelwood and Adam Marjoram. So I thought that was interesting because he was obviously good, but he just didn't have quite as good a car. I'm gonna bring that up for a second and then talk about it for those listening in. So yeah, Brody Kostecki 15th in the championship. He'd occasionally scrape a top 10, but he said he got 7th at some race, but I know, yeah, he looks like he only got 7th at Newcastle twice. But then you look at Todd Hazelwood winning the championship in a VF Commodore. Adam Marjoram had the same sort of thing, but he switched cars late in the season from a Falcon to, did he do all of 2017? He might have done all of 2017 in a VF Commodore, but for some reason that car struggled compared to Hazelwood. He's had a lot of DNFs. I remember it was just a mechanical issue in Newcastle for some reason. The car just died on him. And, Marjoram's doing such a great job in Super Utes these days. But he wasn't that good in Super 2, but I think it was in 2021. It felt kind of sad that he was leaving Super 2 because I felt like he was just starting to get on top of things in terms of he was in a competitive package, he was driving well, and I guess just they kind of ran out of money or something like that. They weren't able to get him there. But obviously Brody was a lot better. There's Brody beating him pretty often, and Marjoram supposedly had the better package. Sorry, because obviously the VF Commodore is a car of the future, and Brody Kostecki was driving a Project Blueprint Falcon and managing to almost beat him all the time. Hang on, what's going on there? Yeah, Marjoram's in a VF Commodore all year, but it looks like late in the year he starts beating Brody. So halfway through SMP, so the first 2 races, Brody's beating him. Then the next couple of races, Marjoram starts beating him. The next 3 races, Marjoram's beating him. And then Brody's back on top again. But yeah, just that shows you how. It's just an interesting point. I just didn't realize that. Sometimes there's information out there and you just don't realize that it exists, and then you go, oh, that kind of changes things. Let's just have a look. Who was the best guy in an FG Falcon that year? You got Bryce Fullwood did the first 3 rounds in an FG Falcon 2017, but he switched to a Nissan for the rest of the year. Matt Palmer driving for an underfunded entry in Dragon Motor Racing. And Gerard McLeod did one-off round. But, those guys didn't. They were in much smaller sort of entries than MSR. Gerard McLeod just did Townsville. And Matt Palmer did it the whole year, but, who was doing better? I think Brody. Brody smashing him every race. Top FG Falcon. Except for that one. So something might have happened at Phillip Island there. And yeah, Brody keeps on beating him. And it's probably like that when we're looking at the FGX Falcons in 2018, is that was a different class, basically. If you're driving an FG Falcon, you were not going to have a great year. Except Scott won the championship. So, yeah. Hang on, what did I say? From the first 3 rounds, Bryce Fullwood was in an FG Falcon. So, yeah, Bryce versus Brody. Let's go. But also, MW versus MSR. Looks like Bryce has got him a lot of that time, except for halfway through Phillip Island. What the hell's going on there? Brody just suddenly get it together. Looks like it. And then from round 4 onwards, I think Bryce gets into a Nissan and starts doing a lot better and racking up results, clawing up a lot of points. But I guess up until that point, Bryce was top FG, but he drove for MW rather than MSR, and the MW FG Falcons might not have been Project Blueprint cars. Who knows? They might have been car of the future cars. We just know that that Brody was driving a Project Blueprint car because that's what he said he was doing. And here I am not having an article. Why the hell not? God damn it, Speed Cafe. Brady Kostecki MSR. Nope. Nope. None of it. And, thanks Speed Cafe for being such a dumpster fire. It's not like we want you to be a good website or anything. Oh, this is my favourite thing. Ford's still not on the money, says Jake Kostecki. And I wanted to do a funny, like a meme that said, Kostecki still not on the Kostecki still not on the money, says Ford. I just thought it would just so funny that like Jake Kostecki could say, oh, the Ford's not very good. Ford will say, yeah, well, Jake's not that good either. I just think it's funny. What's that? Yeah, Co Kostecki with Jake Kostecki every opportunity. Where the hell? Like, it's what, 21? Come on, Speed Cafe. Apparently, no, they're just talking about other Kostecki's, but not. There we go. And I can click on it, and there it is. How come, like, I guess they just changed what the articles are? Is this, what have they done? Okay, so they've just changed it so they don't have a date on the thing. But it's completely ruined. Like, they must have immediately lost a lot of attention on their website from stuff like that. Yeah, it's frustrating. Run 3 cars within the Dunlop series this year, 2017, following the addition of new recruit Brody Kostecki. Queensland operations confirmed that Kostecki, cousin of Kurt and Jake, would pilot a Ford FG Falcon raced by Adam Marjoram for the team last year. It was confirmed that Marjoram will remain with the team alongside Todd Hazelwood, with the pair set to pilot VF Commodores. Yeah, they're just saying an FG Falcon. That's what they're saying. But Brody said it was a Project Blueprint car. So Adam Marjoram. Oh, hang on. I need to show stuff so that just for shits and giggles. Adam Marjoram will pilot a 888 built Holden Commodore in the Dunlop series this year after confirming plans to rejoin MSR for a second season, which is such a weird sentence, to rejoin MSR. Makes it sound like he left. No, to continue with MSR for a second season. The Western Australian will replace the Ford FG Falcon he drove to 13th overall in his main campaign in the category last year with AAA VF Commodore. Continue to be backed by Auto One, striking red and blue livery. Maybe Auto One pulled out from Adam Marjoram. It's interesting, but he's doing well these days at Super Utes. So continuing to drive the VF Commodore, equipped with proven machinery. The 23-year-old is relishing the chance to further develop his skills in the category. So I think the FG Falcons that MSR had were Project Blueprint Falcons that Stone Brothers had in 2012. So those cars ended up in Super 2 in 2013. And that's that might have been why MSR were actually so competitive in 2013. I can actually look that up because I have a PowerPoint presentation about MSR. So I'm gonna get that going. Just so I can whip through more PowerPoint presentations. This is a self-fueling industry, supercars. So, but it's sort of interesting they don't even bother saying what spec the car is. Is it Project Blueprint? Is it car of the future? Brody and Will were saying how in 2022 they were driving cars that were new in 2016. I'm not sure if they were new, but they were like walk-and-shore cars with Walkinshaw engines, and that's what they had. And until in 2017, Erebus built their first car, and once they started doing that, then they started getting more results and started doing better. Yeah. The MSR piloting 2 identical cars, Martram expects having 2 sets of data to evaluate this season will push both himself and Hazelwood forward. Yeah, no shit. Suddenly Hazelwood wins the championship. In fact, Hazelwood won Adelaide 500 for Super 2 as well. So he was immediately good. But that's interesting. So you got a couple different things. So that FG Falcon raced by Marjoram for the team last year. Yeah, so did they acquire a new one? With a AAA VF Commodore, continues to drive. Yeah, Hazelwood's was driving the one that he had in 2016. I think that MSR must have acquired a car, a AAA built car, which I think 2016, 2017. They might have offloaded the, I don't know if they got the one that, like Lowndes' 2016 car, because 888 from 2016 to like for quite a few. I think it was 2016 to 2018. They built new cars every year, and they got into a bit of a habit of doing that, which is just a really interesting thing. They didn't used to do that because you'd see like Lowndes and Wingcap would have cars for multiple years, and then they changed. AAA Commodores have got a good pedigree. Yeah, because there's AAA Commodore. Yes, they must have got a new car. And then yeah, it's interesting just learning about the different cars and what happens there. I would say I think that MW had FG Falcons for a long time. I don't know where they got their cars from though. We have to go back to 2013 Dunlop series. So they had a few FG Falcons, but in 2013, I think Car of the Future didn't come into play in the Dunlop series until like 2015. And the new race number system. In the above tables on the event. Well, aren't all of them events? So, alright. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think maybe it was 2016. I might be thinking 2016. Yeah, it was also the first in which VF Commodores and FGX Falcons built to Car of the Future specifications were eligible for the series, racing alongside previous generation VE Commodore and FG Falcon models. So, 2016. I think 2015, Bryce Fullwood was driving a Paul Morris Commodore. Moves to MW, where you got Bryce Fullwood, and then Shay Davies does a few rounds, and then he gets promoted to the main game to drive the last. I think he only clashes with 1 round, the 7 rounds it looks like. And drives for Erebus, but doesn't have a great time, probably because that second car wasn't very good. But yeah, so probably they were eligible. It doesn't mean they had to. Which is maybe that's what it was. If in 2017, that people were still driving Project Blueprint cars. So 2017 they were allowed to enter cars into the main game as a wildcard program. And now they've made it so that they don't want more people driving in the category, which is a weird thing. Cameron Crick had to jump through hoops. I basically wasn't allowed to do another test if you wanted to do QR. So, That's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how Cameron Creek goes at QR. QR is going to be, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great time. I'm going to make sure I'm not too busy that weekend so I can write notes and enjoy it. That's going to be good. When the hell is QR? I'm going to stop that for a second and look at Supercars. Blah, 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 blah. Deep Squally, wary of make or break Enduro Cup. Like, he's already having a great time. Oh, and the new episode of freaking Formation, that? Alright. Yeah. Deep Squally didn't really have much to say. It wasn't like a huge deal. Oh, what was I looking at? I was going to look at a thing, and I cannot remember what the hell it was. I went through my list, didn't I? Fabian Coulthard, Nick Podcast, Scott Pye, Brownie, and Brody. Fuck. QR. When the hell's QR? That's what I was looking at. Calendar. Ipswich Super 440. 8th to 10th. Next weekend. Okay. What am I doing? I got a thing on the 9th. So that'll be alright. Okay. I have to not make myself busy that weekend because I want to watch QR. Alright. It'll have to be the next weekend. If I wanted to do more stuff. I'm trying to socialize more so I can not appear to be just wiltering away in my house. So, yeah, got that going on. I don't know how much longer I'm going to go because I'm not being spurred on by my man. I think he did drop in and he listened for a bit, but he's disappeared now, which is fine. So QR is next weekend. So, yeah, get excited. So 2018. I suppose the best way to know is like any FG Falcons left in the series. No one's running FG Falcons. By 2018, everybody is running FGX Falcons because every FGX Falcon by that stage was probably a project, a car of the future car. Except maybe the Paul Morris Motorsport car was just a reskinned. Oh, hang on, no. Because Brock Feeney drove the FG in 2019. So it's got to be a different car. They didn't just like reskin the same car. Yeah, an FG, which I remember Paul Morris drove in like 2014 Super 2, something like that. With United sponsorship on it. And Anton drove it in his first year, and it was in the same colours but with no United on the side. So he had that in 2016. And in 2017 he had an FGX. So I don't know where Paul Morris got the FGX from, but that's what was going on. So that's interesting. Like different teams doing different things. You got Paul Morris there with that. FGX 2016. Paul Morris. Just FGs, that's all they had. And the only team with FGXs was Tickford, and that's why they won the championship. That is the end of that story. See Adam Mardrum in the 1 FG Falcon for MSR. I was going to show my MSR presentation. I'll do that. And MSR, Matt Stone, let's go. So, I made this when MSR announced that they were joining the main game. So I'm like, okay, let's learn about Matt Stone racing. Because I thought, okay, it's cool. He's the son of Jim Stone. Let's look into it. 2011. Now, for some reason, pictures just want to stop existing. I don't know what the deal is. I think it's because like I don't save them anywhere. So with a lot of these pictures, they're just like whatever they are, and they're gone for some reason. Cannot be displayed. Why the hell not? Yeah, we don't know. It just doesn't want to work. Copilot, go away, Copilot, go die in a fire. So they had a BF Falcon for the first couple of years. Now I think the only FG they had here was Scott McLaughlin's because that was the Stone Brothers car that they had. So they had that, and then I guess they had three other cars from Stone Brothers. So it was like hand me downs. Here, Matt. You can have a bunch um, of SBR Falcons. So boom, suddenly they're contenders. George Madecki. Oh, was that his first year? He wasn't too bad. Am I missing something? I think I'm just thinking about Ash Walsh. George Madecki wasn't too bad there. So Ash Walsh doing really good. He had a real shot at the championship there, but he just didn't have the consistency. Yeah, FG Falcons in 2013, and I reckon they had Project Blueprint ones. And then they've got, so I think I counted 4 Falcons. So they got, two? They got 2 that did all year. All right. You got Michael Hector and Shay Davies did a few rounds in this one. So Shay Davies did a round in 2014. I think he rocked up at the end of the year. 9th at Sydney's probably is. So Hector competed in all except for the last round. So he got swapped out for Shay Davies. So that's a full-time entry. You got 3 full-time entries. And then you got competed in 2 rounds for Stevie Johnson. 1 at Townsville. And then you got the wild card for Ryle Harris at Bathurst. So where did Stevie J? Stevie J would he have done? Let's have a look. I'll stop that for a second and we'll show this 2014 Super 2 because that is what we want to see. Where did Stevie J drive for MSR? 4 and 5 rounds. 4 and 5. I think the round 4 was Townsville. And then so he did the Queensland rounds. Fair enough. Stevie J did 2 rounds. Where is he? 5th, 17th, DNF, 14th. So, not the best time. But car number 170. And they weren't allowed to use the same numbers as the main game. So, there's that for you. So, that might have been the same car that Ryle Harris had in 2014. So, those two might have been the same car there. No, Townsville, Ipswich, Bathurst, and 3 full-time entries. So they have 4 cars in 2014. And that makes sense. Like that's my count looks right then. So those are all former Stone Brothers cars, one of which is the Scott McLaughlin championship winning car, which is probably the one that Ash Walsh is driving there in 2014, 2013, won the championship in 2012. So that's that car's got racks he's got numbers on the board, really good car. And Todd Hazelwood drove it in 2015, and Shay Davies drove a different one in 2016. That looks about right. Maybe Shay Davies drove the one that was in 2014 that Todd Hazelwood drove. Maybe it's hard to tell with these cars, but it's an interesting history. I was thinking about how cool it would be to have a chat with Aaron Noonan of V8 Sleuth because he just knows so much about the history of these chassis. And I love learning about chassis. Because it's you got one career, which is the driver. You got another career, which is the engineer. You got the life of the racing car. So, let's say that the one that Todd Hazelwood is driving here in 2015 is the same one that Ash Walsh had in 2014, which is the Scott McLaughlin championship winning car from 2012. So they're going along. And in 2016, they decide to switch to VF Commodores, probably because that's a car of the future car. I'm not sure where they got that car from, but it's a couple of years old. Maybe Triple Eight had built some new cars in that time. I know Lounsey got a new one at some stage in that time. So Hazelwood gets that. So MSR phase away from the 2012 Stone Brothers cars and start getting into car of the future stuff because now they're eligible. So, there's that going on. So Brody ends up driving that one. I don't know what car specifically Brody had there, but maybe it was the Scott McLaughlin 2012 championship winning car. And so after that, you don't see any FG Falcons. They're just driving the 888 VF Commodores. Ooh, hang on a second. I am not. Oh, I am showing her good. I was like, oh god, I'm not showing the PowerPoint presentation. No, it's okay. I am. Now I think MSR were also running some Super 3 cars, and I do have a PowerPoint presentation. It's not a PowerPoint presentation. It's an Excel spreadsheet about Super 3, which I think I called the Kumo series here. JK. I even investigated, like, what's it going to cost to run it? Actually, I have the document here. I wrote it in 2018, and they tell you if you want to run a Kumo car in 2018, this is what you got to do. And I thought that was so cool. So I'm going to show that for a second. So we go to Kumo. I'll show that. So I saw a $60,000 car on whatever website it was. I think it was on V8 Sleuth, because they've got a website you can go on and look at buying race cars. $60,000, which I think that was the cheapest one. The next up was like $300,000, which is like an XBJR Falcon. So I was like, all right, I'll take the $60,000 VS Commodore of 3 Bathursts. It was run ex Ian Palmer Commodore. And then I've written also, most old supercars are being sold at around $100,000 to $300,000. So there's a lot of money, and they'd be up a lot more these days, I imagine. Entry fee per round, basically $2,000, not including GST, which is not great. And other possible entry fees for things like internet, TV coverage, and garage space. So I guess it depends on the round whether there's going to be a garage or not. I guess it's an entry fee. They like make the entry fee more expensive, or it's an additional fee. No, it'd be included in the fee, surely. $480 per tire, so individual tire. Yeah, that probably sounds about right, because I think that racing tires are thicker than your standard road tire. $480 a tire, slick or wet, including GST. Fuel costs for 50-litre drums available each round. Ideally, you want to pay for all of this just to do one round of tail and bend every year. So it's just my hypothetical situation. So I said budget of maybe $80,000 for the first time, for like the whole of like going from not doing anything to suddenly committing and doing it. $60,000 car, $2,000 entry fee, $8,000 for other entry fees. Really? That's a lot of money just for that. You don't even know how much that's going to cost. I don't know why I wrote that. $3,000 for 3 sets of tires. So, that sounds about right, but 3 sets of tires doesn't sound like a lot. But, maybe you just, especially if it's like your first round, you'd probably want to do it something like you run 1 set of tires as long as you can through practice, just to get your eye on how to run the car and get the driver. Even if it's not you driving the car, get things going right in terms of just operationally, and then put another set on and see if you can do better. And yeah, it's like fuel costs. It's like, How much fuel do you need? Do you know how much fuel you're going to need for running a race weekend? Just one race weekend, Taylor Bend. It's a long lap as well, and it's a big track. So it depends on the size of the track and whatever round it is. And yeah, any savings would go straight to pay for the car to be maintained or repaired. I was looking at maybe doing a Formula V as well at one point, so I thought that would be cool. I was rambling on about MSR, so we'll get to MSR. And we might wrap this up relatively well. I think I've just about had enough. I probably sounded like I'm a little bit worn out too. So yeah, I was gonna look at the Kumo series because I was like, did MSR run the Kumo series? I'm pretty sure they did run me in the Kumo series. What was it called? I know it was called the V8 Touring Car Series. V8 Touring Cars. Here we are. 2019 is when the last time I updated this. So we'll get that fired up. Okay, so I'll show. There's going to be some juicy stuff. V8 Touring, also known as the Kumo series. So I only go as far as 2016 apparently. So this is probably where it gets pretty interesting. You see the grid fattens up a bit. And I think probably because you see some Nomad Stone Racing. I swear they ran some stuff in their touring cars, but I guess not. Eggleston did. They had old cars. MW had old cars as well. They got Jack Smith. I remember Jack Smith, and I think it was Jack Smith's third, Tyler Greenberry's second, Edge Designer Homes, which I think is what was his sponsor at Tassie when Tyler Greenberry did the 1 Super 2 round. Taz Douglas won the championship in 2016. SA Racing Logistics. Interesting. I don't know if it's a competitive championship. People just used to jump in and do a round or two. You got Alex Rillo, who came second in the championship. They're battling against, so you got 2 out of 5 round wins, 2 round wins for Alex Rillo, 1 round win for Jack Perkins, who probably only did 1 round. Jumped in, did a great job, left. Am I showing the right thing? Yes, I am. Cool. Alright, so Matt Charter 2014. Interesting. What's going on here? Falcons Bears Engine Master switches to a different car or a different entry. Century 21 Hazelbrook. Interesting. Yeah. Got MW here. Matt White entered. Got no points. Ryan Cochrane 2014. Is he the son of Tony Cochrane? Maybe. Who's that? And you'll see like a few names here that are like guys who did Super 2. So they ended up doing other stuff. You got Michael Hector there, which I think we saw in 2014 in Super 2 with MSR. I don't know if we're going to see, because 2008, 2009, 2010, it gets bigger and bigger as people sort of realize, oh, we can run this. You got your Tony Evangelos, who are long time Super 2 drivers back in the day. Not seeing any Matt Stone Racings. 2012, no, 2013. MW, Jack LeBrock in there, Peter Rollo. It's interesting these days. Peter Rollo and Alex Rollo are actually driving rally cars. and looking like they're having a good time. The Edge glass, very nice. Century 21 Hazelbrook. Is that the same one that had Matt Charter 2014? Yeah, interesting. That might have just been an entry that just happened to have some sponsorship. Yeah, not seeing any MSR. There, 2013, 14. I cannot remember where I got all this information from. Surely I got it from Wikipedia. I just wrote up an article because I just wanted to know what was going on here. I do that. I get information. I just make a little thing out of it. You got Jack Sipp there. Jack Sipp did some rounds for. I think he drove 2018 for. Was it 2018 or 2020, 2021 for Augusta Motorsport? I think so. And didn't have a great. Oh, was it 22? Might have been 2022. Yeah, so no MSR in 20 in V8 touring cars. So that's Dunlop V8 series. Okay, I want to look for the V8 touring car series. So 3 series, yes. Yes. Yes, no longer eligible. Let's try this. This is good. We don't need the MSR articles anymore. I just want to know if they ran cars in 2017. And it doesn't run anymore because they canned it because nobody was going to be able to run it anymore. 2 or 3 cars varying the Super 3 class around the 2024 and Super 3 series season. Yeah, but also V8 touring cars did not. It only lasts for that year's season in 2023. So they brought the standalone series back for 2023. 2024 they didn't even have it. You remember that? Yeah, that was the end of it. Supercars obviously stopped having Super 3 class in 2024. So interesting, brief little time. So 2016. So can we look at 2017? V8 touring car class. Matt Stone Racing. Look at all these old cars. Only a couple FG Falcons. Anton De Pasquale, different one. Challenge Motorsport, Chris Smurden. Now, I think Chris Smurden was the one who bought the Scott McLaughlin car. And we saw that in Adelaide, I remember. I actually walked past, I think it was 2022 then, because that was the only time I did a video in it at the Adelaide 500. Got Jordan Boys, Josh Smith in Image Cars. One for Michael Anderson. Interesting. I need a stop soon. I'm getting tired. 2017, Jack Smith smashed everyone, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, doing a really good job. Anton came in, blew the doors off everyone. Or actually, he didn't. Anton De Pasquale couldn't beat Jack Smith at Queensland Raceway in 2017. Wow. But what is that car? It's a VE Commodore. It's it's the right spec. So you got championship class, Kumho Cup, Heritage class. So Kumho Cup, was that what Anton was driving for Paul Morris? Yeah, he's driving championship class. Okay, so what's the deal? What's championship class? What does that mean? Can I tell it to bug off? Yes, please. Yeah, I have donated to Wikipedia before. Shut the fuck up. Alright. Here we go. Series results. Historical results. Interesting. I don't know if the website still exists. Oh, here it does. So championship class. Yep. What does it mean? What does it mean? It's two different fucking things. Are they all the same? The site is no longer available. That's sad, dude. Yeah, let's think of that. Alright. Tier 3 AIMS car. I have no idea what that is. Eligible to V8 specifications. Series was not sanctioned by Avesco. Interesting. I mean, it wouldn't be. I mean, like 997. Like, what kind of cars are those? The Touring Car Challenge. The V8 Touring Car National Series. What's that? Australian Motor Racing Championships. Touring Car Challenge. That must have just been a thing that existed. Official website. Yes, I know it doesn't exist anymore. God damn, that's irritating. Now we gotta dig harder. So we gotta ask Aaron Noonan. Maybe I should send an email to Aaron Noonan and say, "Hey Noons, what's the difference between all these different classes?" Oh, okay, let's go to Google. Let's go to Google. So we got Kumo V8 Supercar Series class. Kumo tires V8 Supercar Series S class, H class. Interesting. All right. I guess we're going to go with that. Yeah, sequential and H pattern. Fair enough. Two classes. Yeah, so 2015. Sanctioned by CAMS. Deregister via Supercars. Some weird tri-state racing. Some ownership. 8th in the sequence of annual V8 Supercar Series, and the 5th carry sponsorship from Kumo Tires. Won by Liam McAdam. P class. Blue P and red P. Pro and privateer. So, different classes, dude. So, what does championship mean and all that? We get lost. Yeah, I'm getting lost and I'm tired and I need to actually eat some bit more food. Bryce forward. Rocked up for Sandown. That's some money. 2017, 2018. Kumo class, championship class, H class, heritage class. They did that for a couple of them. But let's look at the 2012 Scott McLaughlin Dunlop Series car. V8 Sleuth. So let's find out the story. Alright, owned by Jason Gamos all year, blah blah blah. We know this. So what's the story? Come on. Yeah, 2012. Yeah, stuff that's happened since. Yes, we know. We know. That's the end of it. Crap. There's gotta be something better than that. It's all exactly the same thing. No, they're using different words. Okay, okay. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, the fan ambassador. It was alright. You got to hear him across the whole weekend. That was fun. Still races to this day. Stop that. Yeah, so Gamasol's owned the car for a long time, but what, oh, number 93, the year of his birth, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, they're all saying the same stuff. It's not helping me. It's not helping me. The new look Fujitsu FG. A fresh look. Okay, cool. McLaughlin Ford. Is this the exact same article again? Oh no. 28th of November. Let's have a look. Come on, James Pavey, help me. They're just telling us. Oh, hang on. SBR FG01. There we go. Now that's the first FG they had. Competes under the MSR banner. Yeah, because he was co-owner. A major crash in the car. Yes, and that's kind of all we've got. FG01. Okay. FG01 V8 Supercar. The original FG Falcon V8 Supercar. Sometimes just a chassis number helps you so much. So here we are, 2014. Ford's most successful Falcon touring car model. Very first FG Falcon prototype. So this is the one that won the championship. And it's a car of the future car. Right? Built by FPR during 2008 as part of the homologation process for the FG's debut. Okay, so this is a Project Blueprint car. Build process combined effort by a number of leading Ford teams. Triple Eight designed the FG's aerodynamic package, while Stone Brothers were also involved in the design of the car. FPR completed the build and painted the prototype in Ford Nitro Blue before it was presented at the Sandown event in 2008. Craig Lowndes was initially supposed to christen FG01 for the first ever laps on track, but contractual issue changed that plan. The honour went to James Courtney, who drove the car in a series of demonstration runs with Grant Danier in the passenger seat. I wonder if it's because Craig Lowndes was going to be driving for Holden in 2010. Is that right? No. So why are they mentioning... Okay. I'm confusing times and events. All right. So nothing to do with all that. So FG Falcons. Yeah, my theory was that it ended up when. Wait. Okay, here we go. 20. Okay, Dave Reynolds took. Okay, hang on. Wait, this FG01. Who drove FG01, dude? This is a This is a FPR Falcon. Became Paul Dumbrell's Bodlow Falcon for 2010. He drove it in every event in 2010. First ever race win, pole position. And they ran in the chassis in 2011. Heavy hits at Hamilton, Service Paradise, and spun out of second place, hit by Lee Holdsworth in the closing laps in 2011 at Sydney. David Reynolds drove in 2012, crashed on debut with the team in Turn A in Adelaide, drove at the Grand Prix, Sims Plains, Hamilton and Perth, before they properly repaired the car after its Clipsal crash. Interesting. That's interesting. For the next round at Phillip Island, Reynolds moved into the car Chaz Mostert had been driving. After Phillip Island, the team decided that Reynolds would stay in Mostert's Dunlop Series chassis for the rest of the season, with Mostert being given our featured car from the Townsville round onwards. So it got driven by Chaz Mostert in 2014. Oh, hang on, I'm confusing shit. 2012. Okay, that's why it's confused. It would stay in Mostert's Dunlop Series chassis. That's interesting. I thought that the chassis didn't go from one to the other like that, but that's interesting. All right. So Mostert drove it for the remainder of the Dunlop Series in 2012. Okay, I'm getting confused now. I thought FG01 was... It was... It said it's... Did he drive it for the rest of the year? He drove it for the remainder of that year. Where am I getting my information from? SBR FGO1. Whoopsies. That'll do it. SBR FGO1 V8 Supercar. Well, I just went on a freaking rabbit hole that wasn't the right rabbit hole. Here we are. Crap. No information. We're currently not taking new subscribers while as part of the size refurbishment. That sucks. Existing subscribers should log into it. Oh, man. I'll try to read it. It's debuted as a Stone Brothers FG by SBR. Current status is racing in the Dunlop Super 3 Series 2009, which is probably when it was built. Stone Brothers. There. Okay, well, we can find some stuff. The unraced Stone Brothers Falcon. My 105. That's a sales site, right? That's the Scott McLaughlin one. First race by Alex Davis. Complete roller without the engine. Plenty of spares. Car fully maintained by MSR. Quality car. Proven when in the right hands. 128,000. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound like a terrible price for a car like that. You got a bunch of dudes with good money and some sponsors. Yeah, so that's 2012. McLaughlin was a BF. Probably they converted to BF and then back to FG. Like this sounds like a lot of crap to go through. Updated 3 years ago, created 10 years ago. So in 2015, that car was up there. So they weren't running it in, hang on, 2015. So yeah, I guess they offloaded a couple cars. So in 2015, I think we said 2014, they were running 4 cars. They had the 3 full-time entries. Matt Stone Racing had 3 full-time entries in Super 2 in 2014, and had another one they were running as a wild card. That Stephen Johnson drove and Rail Harris drove. And I guess they put one of those up for sale. But it's interesting that one of those, so that was the one that Michael Hector drove. So that was the Scott McLaughlin chassis? Why wouldn't you put it with Hazelwood or Ash Walsh? Am I looking at it wrong? Okay, maybe the 2013. Yeah, they ran in 2013, so that's when it was. Dude, that's interesting. Anyway, so let's go back. Is this SVRSG or FSG1? So it's unraced. The chassis SBR COTF 22. Okay. Alright, let's try and find more information. Hector will use SBR FGO1, the Dunlop Series title winner in the hands of Scott McLaughlin. 2013. Okay. That's interesting. Did they run it in 2014? Or did it just get put up for sale? That's an interesting thing. Stone Brothers Last Falcon. Last Stone Brothers Racing Falcon built and raced in V8 Supercars. Is that something Powers? Is that Powers? Jordan Mitchell's will make his Dunlop Super 3 Series debut. Okay, so it's not him. Yeah, that's not right. What car is it? No chassis number. For racing for Greg. What Greg? There's a few Gregs in racing. Image Racing. The last SPR Falcon. Built new for 2012, driven by Team Slade. Finished 5th in the championship. Racing for Greg. Image Racing. Who? Who's Greg? Some dude called Greg. Alright. Have I missed something? Have I misread something? Formula 4 Championship round at Sandown with G-Force Motorsport. Okay. Greg from G-Force. That's what I'm... Alright. Cool. Yeah, so FGO1 is an FPR car. SBR FGO1. God damn, dude. That's annoying. That's annoying. So the Scott McLaughlin chassis, the one that won the championship, got bought by Chris Madden. Right? Blah, 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 blah. We know all of this. He never had a pole in the Dunlop series. That cannot be true, dude. That can't be true. Well, when he was in the main game, he started getting poles because he had newer cars, probably. So let's want to see something about make a car that you used to race back up. It's a privilege. Lately, it's had more hits than Elvis. Looks good underneath all the bodywork. That's cool. So, owned and raced in the Super 3 series by MSR. Co-owner Jason Gomersall. So what is this My 105 article then? Because apparently Scott McLaughlin's championship winning car is FGO1. So the thing's still up, but it's presumably ad expired. This one got away, but check related. Okay, cool. Michael. As in like Michael Hector. I missed that bit because there's so much crap on our screen. I didn't realize that ad expired. I didn't realize that was a thing. My 105's got some stuff on it. Cars, bikes, and cars. Let's see what V8 supercars are actually available in there. That's classic circuit racing. Alright. Sedan race cars. Alright. The John Briggs 2000 super cheap auto car. That's cool. Is that what triple O? Sometimes the JBMS triple O. Also chosen as a retro livery recently for Chaz Monsters 2017 Sandown, which that makes it sound older than it is. What's that? 2012 Ford Falcon FG Super Tourer. What is it doing in Australia? Oh, it's in Auckland, New Zealand. Okay, let's narrow our searches to Australia. That's going to help. And change the model to Holdens and Fords. Alright. Oh, BA production ute. You can get a V8 ute for 20 grand. Is it broken? Get a V8 ute for 20 grand. Queensland production ute series 24-25. Strong motor, rebuilt gearbox. This is what you can get for 20 grand. Let's go to the bank. get a loan, get yourself a V8 Ute. That's cool. Yeah, it's also a V8 Ute. So IPRA, which is what the what does I mean again? What does I mean? We had it in the Australian Touring Car Championship, and I cannot remember. Some production racing, blah, 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 whatever. That's cool. That suggests it might have been a Brock Commodore. Or it just looks like a Brock Commodore. 1992. Multiple championship winnings in the NT. What the fuck? Evanston Park. That's near where I live. That's hilarious. Is that right? Evanston Park, South Australia. That's near where I live. Oh, a little banger. For how much? $42,000. You can get a V8 Ute for less, and it's looking dusty. But it's still like a solid race car. Comes with a trailer. That's what you can do for 42 grand. I would rather buy a Formula V. But there you go. Alright, I'm going to stop dicking around, I think. I think we've exhausted everything we're doing here. I think old mate dropped in. I don't know if he's just come back. He's back. Dude, I was about to stop. Was it you who dropped in before? Someone dropped in and gave the thing a like. Did you come in before? This is your first time tonight. All right, someone dropped in and gave the thing a like. They didn't even say hi. I forgot you saw it at 6. Yeah, let me know what, because I sort of set this. I schedule it on purpose, like 4 or 5, 6 hours before, and went to work. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah. um. Yeah, I schedule them like on the day, and I only do that so that it's easy to remember. Otherwise, if I do it a week in advance, you might not remember it. Lucky Dog podcast. I did talk about it this stream. It was good. Really enjoyed it. I didn't realize Brody was in it until Will Brown, he started it, and I was like, like Brody's on it. Like I was gonna watch it just for Will Brown, and then I was like, oh shit, Brody's in it. This is gonna be good, and it was really good. No, we'll go. Well, they had so many great stories came out of it. Just gonna watch this, completely forgot. I'm annoyed they brushed by the Brody issue, as in him dropping out of the first couple rounds. I think they felt like it's been done to death already. Like he had a personal thing that he doesn't want to talk about, and that's why he dropped out of the first couple rounds of the championship. Right? He dealt with it. He came back. He finished the season, won Bathurst. He's back. That's and there's nothing we can do about that. If he doesn't want to talk about it, he doesn't want to talk about it. So I think they did fine. They did sort of mention it because Will actually was like, hey, when Brody left, that was like a huge deal. All of a sudden, Supercars in the headlines. People are talking about it, not for the right reasons, but they basically confirmed Will Brown wasn't in equal equipment. You mean in the late part of the season? Because he was leaving when he signed with Triple Eight. Yeah, that was a bit of an argument. That I don't know if that necessarily means that Will wasn't getting equal treatment. His mechanics were basically off him. as in his mechanics stopped caring about working on Will Brown's car? Is that what you mean? Because I don't think that was the case. They did have to rebuild it at Adelaide so they could get it back out, and then it was pretty twisted. And they finished the race. I don't remember them getting a good result. Oh man, he crashed in Adelaide. Yeah, well, wouldn't you be? They're trying to win the team's championship. If one of the cars goes straight in the fence, it's not helpful. And the only reason, even though the crash won them both championships. All right. Let's do our homework. 2023 Supercars Championship. We go to Adelaide. Who finished first out of both races? So Brock Feeney versus Brody Kostecki. So that's what? Hang on. No. We look at teams championship. We're looking at teams championship. So 2 DNFs there. Now, I don't know if they had the teams championship wrapped up, but that's 100 odd points. Even though the crash won them both championships, I don't think crashing a car wins a championship. Where are we looking at? I was looking at chassis and looking at buying race cars as well. We can do more of that if you want. So you got Brock Feeney here, 5th and 2nd. So it looks like Triple Eight got more points than Erebus at Adelaide. But so you're gonna look, when did Erebus lock up the championship? They were probably ahead by a margin for a bit. So you got that's 5 podiums there. So Erebus outscored Triple Eight of those 2 races, double second, 4th and 8th. But then you got a couple of wins. It was close, but that 23rd place for car 88 did not help. The Bend, yeah, they've got some points. Good points for Triple Eight. So where did they lose it? Brody Kostecki and Shane Van Gisbeken both got the same results at Gold Coast. I think I remember that actually. I remember SVG doing a lot better than Brock at the Bend. But I guess Erebus just had a bit of an edge. Like their strongest period was actually better than Triple Eight. So they probably got well ahead after Tassie. They were well ahead in terms of points. And then just keep on scraping by and racked up. Hang on, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 podiums. And Erebus got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So probably just enough to lock down the team's championship. Because I think Brody said, "Well, I don't know what they're upset about. We've won both championships. We've locked them away pretty much in that first race." So I think you're talking about. SVG ran to Will Brown, which won them both. Because SVG didn't finish either. Yeah. So SVG not finishing handed Brody the championship. Will Brown, or because SVG didn't finish, and Triple Eight needed both cars to get a great result in order to try and get the teams. I think that's what you mean, isn't it? Yeah, I think that's what you mean. Where am I looking? Yes, that's the 2023 championship, which I should have shown that thing. I keep forgetting to show things. What I was doing before was I was looking up this chassis, the which is SBR FGO1, which is the Falcon that Scott McLaughlin won the championship with in Super 2 in 2012. And that one was also run by Matt Stone Racing. Last week, but 1 hour delay on the F1. Yeah, and then the race wasn't that great. It was all right. It was fine. It wasn't that great. It was pretty much watching Lewis Hamilton carve his way through the field. That's pretty much all that happened. And as the first lap, Piastri passed Norris, and then it was all over. That was pretty much it. The race didn't. Oh, and Yuki Tsunoda dropped out of the points after the pits. That was annoying. Did I see Leclerc got pole? I think Leclerc got pole for what are they doing now? What race is now? Something's on now. Speed Cafe. Hungary. The first FG made. No. So the first FG made was an FPR car that was, I think they said it was run by. Oh yeah, I saw that qualifying Lewis down 13th. It was just like, oh my god, man. Yeah. So yeah, there's a chassis called FG01, which is an FPR car, and then there's a car called SBR FG01. And I found this out the hard way when I was looking up the cars and going, FG01, this isn't what? It said in 2012 it was run by Chaz Mostert, and I'm like, what? And then but SBR FG01 was run by Scott McLaughlin in 2012. So father time catching up. Yeah, Lewis is a bit past it. I think I've been reading articles of people defending him, saying, oh, he's come into a new team. It's very different to what he was dealing with before. So that's why he's having a rough time, not quite getting close enough to Charles. It just sort of shows, because you see so many arguments in the comments where people are saying, oh, they're trying to defend him. He's cooking in 2012 consistently. Lewis? Are we talking about Lewis? 2012. He was in with a shot, right? Is that what we're talking about? Lewis Hamilton 2012? Yeah, that thing. Sainz getting spanked by Albon. McLaughlin in 2012. Yes, he was cooking. He was the guy. He said he never got a pole in Super 2. I didn't know that. It just sort of popped up in the article. They were talking about the Chris Smurden car. Yeah. And Scotty got reunited with it, and they showed it at 2022 Adelaide. And the history of that car after 2013, we don't know what happened to it. Chris Smurden bought it, and he crashed it, and then got reunited with McLaughlin. I guess he's still running it. Sainz is so much better than Albon, but he's getting hooked right now. Yeah, I believe in Carlos. He's just not quite there. He did all right in qualifying, didn't he? Didn't Albon get knocked out in Q1? I swear he did. Hungarian Grand Prix qualifying results. Carlos 13th. Yep. Alex 20th. And I think we think it's because he didn't quite get his lap done. It was just sort of not in the right place at the right time. And Sainz has gone out there and put it into Q2. If you get the whole session, you didn't watch. I watched the highlights this morning in bed, so I couldn't really remember it either. I've had a whole day. of actually mostly chilling, but a little bit of stuff going on as well. It was like the first thing I did when I woke up. I think I was just like, "Oh, Formula One happened. Let's see what happened." Yeah, but yeah, that yeah, I had a time looking at that 2012 Scott McLaughlin thing. This race can be decided off the start if Oscar gets Charles off the start. Oh yeah, if you don't have both McLarens on the front row, yeah, Norris is gonna nail the start, and they're both gonna go flying past Charles. Norris is gonna force his way past Charles, maybe crash into him, ride himself out of the championship. That'll be frustrating for Charles. And Piastri will sail away to a championship. I was impressed the Aston Martins were in there, and Gabby Bortoletto is still in there as well. Max put it 8th for some reason. That is where that Red Bull is, in 8th. That's where it sits. Both Racing Bulls were in there too, so I was like, oh yeah, it's good. And I guess Isaac Hadjar sneezed when he was doing his lap because he was ahead of Lawson in Q2 and Q1. So I don't know what happened there. Yeah. Lando going to take like 10, 15 laps to get by after, and Oscar will be 10 seconds up the road. Red Bull is stinky right now. Yeah, Red Bull is stinky right now. Did they get an upgrade? Somebody got an upgrade. I remember that. I can't remember who it was. Red Bull has been kind of stinky all year. Sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not close enough. That's just half the problem, really. And Max was only like a 10th faster than Yuki, and that was the difference. I'll show the times. But I love that. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I mean, it's something different, seeing Red Bull not just dominating is an interesting change. It's just amazing how long it started, or how long the dominance lasted. 22, 23, 24, shit the bed. Watching Max cook year in, year out been hurting my chest. Yeah. It's just dominance for you. You always got someone who's just smashing everyone for ages, and then you go, can somebody else please win? And finally somebody else comes in and dominates, like the McLarens have been. Love watching Max struggle. I think Max is doing a great job. 2023 was unbearable. It was pretty boring. Aston Martin were great. I was happy about that because I'm an Aston Martin fan, so I like seeing that. Don't mind that he wins, but the 2021 season makes it hurt. Very controversial, very controversial. It was just great for a while watching. Every time Lewis and Max got close to one another, they just managed to make it into a drama. They could not battle. They couldn't battle, apart from Abu Dhabi, and that was the only time they were actually capable of battling. Where who got run off the road? I think Max went off at turn 1, and Lewis sailed through, and Lewis dominated most of the race. And then they had the safety car, and Max pitted, and then they let 5 cars through so that Max could be right behind Lewis on fresher tyres. And then Max won the championship. And that was Michael Massey's decision. And there we go. That's what happened in 2021. It was a time. It was a time. We also had Spa 2021, which was a shit show. Where George Russell got his first podium. It was a thing, that one. Yeah. Yeah, I got a list of things that I was talking about before. Do you want me to go through them, or do you want to talk about more F1? Ran Lewis off. Okay, that was turn 1, right, at Abu Dhabi? We're reading it all here. I think that the rivalry was just incredibly intense, actually. Like, every time either of them were near one another, trouble happened. Monza is a great example of what happened. Like, the first time they got close to one another, bang, turn 6. They got turn 1 after that first long straight. Max ran Lewis off. Because I remember Max went straight. Was it Max went straight through, or I think it was Lewis went straight through. Because one of them went straight through, and there was just like an open bit, and then you get back onto the track. God, what section is that? You reckon it's turn 6? Oh, you might be right. It just looks so much. It looks like there's a building in it. I've been playing too much F1 Manager, so that's the only idea of Abu Dhabi that I have. Max dive bomb Lewis and did the traditional run him out of Rome. Yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah. You are triggering my memory. Cutting through, yeah, he just went straight through. Yeah. Yeah. But that was a great rivalry. It was I can't think of a historical example of, apart from James Hunt, Niki Lauda. That's all I can think of, but they didn't have battles. They didn't crash into one another every time, like Max and Lewis. Max and Lewis was just like the insane thing. To be like, I'm here to listen. Is there like a delay? I feel like there's like a big delay or something. Make sure to bet anytime anyone wanted to battle. Yeah. Refuses to race clean. But well, I don't know if that's completely true. I don't know. I think sometimes he's like, I guess I'm 6th today, and that happens, but he fights. All right, yeah, I think there's a bit of a delay. All right, I guess I'll do my thing then. What was I doing? I'll go through my list of things because you missed out, and you're my guy. I think I talked a bit about the Will Brown Brody Kostecki podcast. Another thing that I want to talk about is Scott Pye at Queensland Raceway. 17 seconds behind. Damn. So Scott Pye has been invited to be a commentator at Queensland Raceway on the Supercars broadcast. You're back now. Oh. All right. So Scott Pye's going to be on the Supercars broadcast, and he's going to be a commentator adding, how weird, right? Yeah, but I'm also like, what team are you batting for, Scotty? You've been a critic here. But I think he really wants Supercars to be great again, you know. I want to get the red hat, the Supercars great again, because it's been ambushed. This is Scotty's opportunity. This is his opportunity to prove his point. That's what this is. If he doesn't prove his point, then he's all talk, right? And that's not that. Then that makes him look terrible. Jesse Yates and Scott beefing last year because Scott was saying there was that Supercars has something against it has specific treatment, but like they have to make a decision on who to point the camera at, and Scott's like, it has to be this guy, it has to be that guy, it has to be this guy. They're not gonna give each car a specific amount of camera time. They're just showing whatever is the most interesting thing on track. So that's what it's like. No, and Jess Yates was like, no, there's no bias. So We'll see. I'm looking forward to QR next weekend, and I'm gonna be like, "All right, Scotty. All right." You oppose my opinion a bit. You think? What do you think? I think Scott was mad because he got told by Supercars media workers that they were told not to put the cameras on him. Yeah, yeah, and obviously he gets his insider information, um, and he has to trust that information because you got to trust the words of the people who are more informed and more involved, especially as a camera person. Yeah, and later Yates tried to act like it was never a thing, and maybe she doesn't know, but she's obviously a lot more involved as a part of the production team. Like as soon as he made it public, yeah, it is like that sometimes. When somebody makes something public, people try to deny it. He's on the telecast heaps more. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yes. Avoided interviewing him heaps. Yeah, it was at Sandown, right? At Sandown, he was like, "We just won the race and I didn't get as many interviews." Well, they won the race and that was the only time they interviewed him. PD was a co-driver, was in the Triple A garage. Yeah. Non-stop were in there. They love pointing the camera at PD. He is a camera magnet. Just one of those guys. That's because that's PD's where the action's at. You want to see a good crash? PD. He's your man. You want to see goofy reactions? PD. You know? He's watching Jamie Whincup. He's all, oh. Something happens. He goes, "Rrr." That's PD. That's our guy. Anyone that's on track to win. Yeah. PD is the PD and Whincup are Bathurst. They're in that garage non-stop. Anyone that's on track to win. Wouldn't you be? It'd be pretty annoying. Then all of a sudden, it's like, who cares about them? Yeah, yeah. So that was weird, right? Yeah, they should have been looking a lot closer at who was going to be on for the win. We do see like plenty of Triple Eight stuff, but Triple Eight are part of the story all the time because they're the best part of the story. Yeah, that's why he was upset. Yeah, that makes sense. And I understand. I understood where he's coming from, because he did make his point pretty clear. They were cackling about his crash at Bathurst. Yeah, Scotty's in the news. Scotty's in the news now, boys. Yeah, there you go. I think that one. Oh, Scotty's crash is another great example of what makes Triple Eight great. Is that Whincup goes, nah, it's all right. We'll fix up the car. We'll get it back out there. We're good. Mistakes happen. Just don't do it again. Whereas, like, you can imagine, like, maybe a Charlie Schwerkolt might go, "Oh my god," and wouldn't have been happy. Of course, Whincup says that. What you think? That's his favorite corner. Yeah, that's the one he crashed at, eh? uh, his favorite corner. Yeah, there's a lot of great things have happened in Triple Eight history at that corner. That was where Lowndesy got hit by the wheel, 2014 and 2020. 2014. 2014, okay. What happened in 2014? Do we have to watch the 2014 Bathurst highlights? I might have to. Whincup in qualifying. Oh, he started down the back, didn't he? Oh, did he crash it? Okay. I didn't realize that was what happened. I just knew it was like a wacky old race, and all I can think of at that part of the track is Lowndes and Luff. That's all I can think of. when they crashed in was a practice before the shootout. So Wing-Cup crashed in qualifying too. What a shit weekend for Triple Eight. Damn. Started last because of that red flag. Wow. And Mostert passed the car. Oh. Yeah, damn. That's crazy. So disqualified. Oh, they were disqualified from qualifying. Interesting. Because he passed someone on a red flag. Interesting. That's cool. Like there are some things I just do not know about Supercars history, especially about that race. I have not seen that race yet for some reason, and I just don't know what happened. I'm just like, oh, this happened. Oh, that happened, but I haven't seen the full race. So I think I definitely have to do that one. Watched that race so many times. Yeah, I might have to. All I know what happened in general terms. I know that the track broke up. Several cars went into the fence at Griffin's because that's where the track was breaking up. Lowndes and Luff's crash, knew about that. Wingcup and Mostert starting from the back, I know that bit. Morris put it in the fence as well. You know, I know general things like that. Shane Van Gisbergen stuck it on pole. The car seized up in the pits. Give me 2 minutes. I want to see what the F1 order is. All right. Is it on right now? Well, I better talk a bit more, even though our man is off checking the F1 order. Looks like somebody else is watching for a hot second. So we were just talking about the Bathurst 2014 and how I've never watched it, and our man here has just watched it so many times apparently. You're gonna see what the F1 is. Yeah, I'll drink my tea. I got food and drink to have. Leclerc leading Leclerc's what? How? How is Leclerc leading that race? The Ferrari is not a good car. What? That's crazy. Saying the conditions are matching the car. Right. That is a weird one. How many laps? Are we like almost at the end of the race, or has it just started? I mean, I can check this. I can just plot KO and watch it for a hot second. It's 5 laps in. All right, give him time for the McLarens to warm up, and then they'll just go bolt past him. God, what a time. Lando is in 4th though. All right. So Russell nailed the start, got past him. That's my assumption. Yep. Behind Russell. There we go. Not hard to work it out. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, it's only 5 laps in. Like, you know, no need to win. You can't win the race on the first lap. You know, you got 50 odd laps to do. So, yeah. I'm in the middle of my, is it 30th season of F1 Manager 2022. I'm at Abu Dhabi, like halfway through the race. And then the events of the day happened, and then here I am. Haven't got back to it yet. 30th, yes, my 30th season of F1 Manager 22. I played a lot. You know, it's 2025 now, all right? I've played a lot. It's a pretty addicting game. I do it ritually. I get up in the morning, play a little bit of F1 Manager, have my cup of tea, go have my bacon and eggs, finish the race. That's what it's like every day for me. Do it in the morning, I do it at night when I get home from work. 30th, which is a milestone. And no signs of stopping yet. I did have a bit of a break for like 6 months, and then I came back and then got right into it again. It's just one of those things that you can. I just put a podcast on and just strategize my F1 race. Surely the grid is full of randoms now. It is. It is. There is no one left. There is. It's all AI generated drivers, AI generated engineers, tech chiefs, aero dudes. Everyone's a random dude. You just kind of have to go, oh, this guy's good. Oh, that guy's good. And you just sort of learn the story yourself. I don't even know if they're like real, if they're like official names or anything, or if it's just like randomly generated names. I just know my guys. I know some of the names in the sport and have like vague ideas of whether they're good or not. And then when it's time for me to sign a new driver, I work out who's really good or not. And usually AI do not have really good drivers. Even the ones that I think are good is just because they happen to have a good enough car. My team is Aston Martin, and we're not the best. We don't have the best car. I don't think we have the fastest car at any point in the year. We just have really good drivers who can carry the car further up the grid, and we just rack up the wins that way. We barely get poles anymore. We get like 1 to 3 poles in a 22 race season. And I think this season McLaren have been like getting most of the poles and winning races. And we're just like grabbing podiums and grabbing good points, and that's how we're winning, is by just consistency. That consistency is what it takes to win championships. That's what I do, you know. I mean, I do battle hard to try and get the win, but yeah. 30 seasons is not dominating yet. I have been okay. I didn't mention that I've won every single champion. It's 2051 in my game. We won our first championship, and we've won every single championship since 2034. Okay, that's 16 years of domination. We did have a very dominant period where we won like every race. We won like, I think our best was like 18 wins in a 22 race season. So yeah, what I've actually done is I've started making it so that I'm voting against myself to make the game more challenging. And that's why I'm having like a really tight season at the moment, is because I don't get the wind tunnel advantage, because I voted against that. Except next season I'm getting getting the wind tunnel advantage, so we're gonna be back on top and smashing everyone, and that's the AI's fault for voting that back in. That's yeah, you got to nerf yourself. Exactly. I mean, I dominated for 16 seasons. Like, well, not dominated, but like just winning the championship, winning constructors every year for 16 seasons. You got to make it challenging. And that's why it's like this race I'm doing now in Abu Dhabi, if we screw it up, we could hand McLaren the constructors. We've wrapped up the drivers a couple of races away from the end, but the constructors, we might lose that. There's a chance. Mercedes 2.0. It's just like, I worked out how to do it, is what happened. I worked out, okay, so we designed the car for the first half of the season, and then we gradually fade that out to just do research for the next season. That's the way to do it. And that's the way I've won 16 championships in a row. I can't remember what year I started changing it. I think it was 2028 to 29. Around the time the Sebastian Vettel retired, and then I put Ollie Behrman in the car. That's had a lot of different drivers. Who else do we have? We had Zhou Guanyu one year, 2033. He was very fast, but he just had like a streak of crashing, and then Ollie Behrman just kept on racking up good enough results to almost win the championship. But I screwed up because I didn't give him a good enough power unit, so powertrain, system to beat George Russell for the championship. That was on me. I screwed that bit up. He should have had the right gear to do the job. Show stinks in real life. Yeah, well, he was really good. I needed, and it's happened a couple times. Sometimes you need somebody who looks like they've got all the right stats because it shows all their stats, in terms of their ability, and you go, all right, Ollie Behrman wasn't quite there, but he was going to get there. Joe, I just needed somebody to be the benchmark for at least one season. And it was such an expensive season as well. It was $18 million Zhou Guanyu wanted, and I thought, that's such a rip-off. Like, I'm giving you a championship contender car. Why? I mean, actually, we won championship 2032. I forgot to mention that. 2032 was our first championship with Lance Stroll, and then he retired at the end of the season. And I was like, crap. And now, and then I got Zhou Guanyu because we needed a contender, and Ollie Behrman wasn't quite ready yet. He was close, but not quite ready. And then the Zhou wanted a 1 year deal, and I got the shits on because I was like, because he didn't want to extend. Even though we won races and got poles, I was like, I'm sick of this. So I put a rookie in the car for 2034 and got fired. And then I restarted the game 5 seasons from the end of 2034 because Ollie kept crashing out, and Francois Berger, an AI generated driver, kept crashing out, and I got sacked. And then I restarted the game 5 races from the end. Ollie won like 3 out of the last 5 races and won the championship. Total reversal of fortunes. It was a crazy time, and then we just started sailing away into the sunset, which is basically what's been happening for several years. And to find another Ollie Behrman has been difficult. I think the one guy I've got at the moment, it was pretty much the next one, except he wasn't my reserve driver. You get so bored after 5 years of that. Yeah, I think I'm just like that. I'll just keep on trucking along, doing what I did eventually stop for a bit. I can't remember. I was playing in 22, 23. I stopped for a bit. I can't remember how long it was. Because I got videos on my gaming channel that I put out for every single driver lineup. So at one point it stopped for like 8 months or something. And then I came back, and they've been coming out like every week. Same character trait is why we have such good Supercars chats. Yeah. The just the relentless consistency of doing the same thing over and over. Yeah. Yeah. It's just ritualistic now in F1 Manager. People are like, really? You're still playing that? Why aren't you playing the new one? Relentless in the effort of knowledge. I mean, it's been an experience playing F1 Manager and being like the boss of the team. You just obsess over things you like, yeah. Yeah. I could argue about anything, I think. I am like that. It's hard to find someone who's like a good match for me. And so I really like meeting people who are like really like they could really challenge me like with information, with things they know, which I get a bit out of you when we talk about supercars, is that you'll bring up things and I'll be like, oh, I didn't know that. And then or you'll make a case about something. I think the thing about anything and everything, you argue about anything and everything. Yeah. Yeah. I like having big conversations about stuff. Some people can't handle it. Some people get all like, "Oh no, I don't want to have tension." I like I like to, we'll just talk about it, be like, why do you think that? Um, and I don't I like having conversations about that because you might find that they don't actually have much of a basis for why they think something. Most people watch motorsport, which are like service value. Yeah, they're like, when's the crash gonna happen? When's the safety car gonna happen? That's what it is. Which you could argue. And my best mate said this. He was like, and he doesn't like motorsport. He doesn't care. He was like, "Oh, what if I had a hot take like, no race is good unless it has a crash in it," which is kind of true. Like, I love to watch things to find the context of why certain things happen and the butterfly effect of heaps of things. Yep, yep. The 2016 Supercars season. 2016. Good stuff. So much. So much. Oh boy. You've got Erebus Motorsport, Holden Racing Team, Lucas Dumbrell Motorsport. You've got Tickford Racing. You've got Brad Jones Racing. Wingcup losing the unlosable championship, kind of. Love seeing why and where it went wrong. Yeah, I mean, I like finding out things like that. Look, we were talking about Craig Lowndes, 2011, and I think it wasn't because he was better than Wingcup at any stage. It was because Wingcup had a couple bad races that brought Lowndes into the picture. I think that's what it was. Because it didn't look like Lowndes was out qualifying him too much, but I'm gonna check that, and we'll find out if I've just said a bunch of stuff that's wrong. So, Lowndes in Queensland, that was just his house. You can't beat him at his own house. Yeah, he had one good round where he smashed everyone in Queensland. Then his enduro season was elite. I think it's because Wingcup screwed up. It looks like. Bad Bathurst, second at Phillip Island. He had Scaife, for God's sakes, I'll stop there for a second. You just said something. Besides Gold Coast. Yeah, of course, besides Gold Coast. But this was a very competitive season as well. And so, and it's like 2013, like Wingcup just stitches it together, comes through. Rylan Gray at the moment, great example of an extremely competitive supercar season, but Super 2, where his consistency is giving him the championship because he's just top 4 every race. Top 4. That's all you need to do. And then you win the championship. Like Scott McLaughlin's strategy of winning this 2012 championship was just like come fourth every race and then you win. Or at least come top 4 every race. And so you got Wingcup here just racking up the numbers. Had a really crappy Hamilton. And racking up the numbers. By the end of the 4th race, he's leading the championship well and truly. And then just bang, 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 bang. And I think some of these guys had a really bad season. I think Frosty had a really bad run. Yeah, 4 poles. One of them turned into a podium. That's rubbish. He shouldn't have been like that. Even Lowndes, here's some results that just went awry. Apart from here, he had a strong stretch here, including the wins. So I think there were some really bad jobs going on there. HRT in 2011 was HRT because they just shat the bed big time because they were in a mess because they were like, oh my god, we're not winning the championship. Was it Queensland? I think I watched. Lowndes was smashing everyone, and Garth. Something happened to Garth. What happened? He started down the back, carved his way through the field, got in an incident, and dropped down and didn't. I think he got classified, and that was the end of the race. The next race, he's coming through the field, gets in another incident. That was Garth's Queensland Raceway. Just like he should have had a much better time, but he didn't. He was just like, he was having a HRT time. That's what happened for HRT. Yeah. Last race in Queensland, Win Cup front row, and they left a cover. Yes, yeah, I saw that. Had to come in on the Formula 8. That was, and Roland was not happy. And Larko goes up to talk to Roland, and he is putting a lid on it, but you could tell like he was keeping a lid on it. Like somebody was gonna get screamed at, or someone was gonna hear Roland going off the rails. Drive through penalty. He did something, right? Oh, because he sped in the pits. He sped in the pits when he came through to do that to get the cover taken off. He sped in the pits. Oh my god! See, 2011 was his to lose. 2011 was Win Cups to lose. Basically, as soon as James Courtney was driving for HRT, somehow came 10th. Did he just? Yep. He did indeed come 10th, but I mean, there must have been some safety cars. Hang on. No DNFs from anyone. We're looking. Jason Bright down in 28th, so that's an interesting one. Is that the one with like Carl Reiner, Todd Kelly? No, that was the second one. James Courtney. Did Todd Kelly actually? Hang on. Where's Carl Reiner? Carl Reiner actually finished that race. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Yeah, the one with Garth. Yeah. Engel and Courtney were trying to murder each other. One safety car. Wait, no safety cars. Okay. Because Lowndes was in a different postcode. Yeah, true. Okay, that would explain it then, wouldn't it? Yeah. Because if you finished that far ahead, yeah. Otherwise, because Win Cup was fast in what race was it? I think it was the second one. Win Cup was it? No, it was the first one because Win Cup qualified further down the back, further down the grid, and he was coming up. He was setting fast laps, but it's like you still got to pass him. And Lowndes just started putting his foot down, started just pulling away. He had it in the bag, but that's Lowndes at QR. Lowndes at QR. Lowndes at Perth. He was just a beast. He would just turn it on. That would be like one of his best rounds every year. Apart from Sydney, apparently, but he'd lost the championship at Gold Coast 3 rounds earlier. Damn. I mean, I suppose, yeah. I'm thinking of Cam Waters for some reason. Cam Waters was like that. But, I mean, he started this year smashing everyone. Now he's on the clawback. But still got finals. Waters wins Gold Coast. Waters wins Adelaide. Waters wins the championship. That's how to do it. Percat stalled at Phillip Island. Oh, really? God damn. Like the mini stall that Mostert had at Townsville. So Percat stalled it at Phillip Island. Is that what you said? Had to start from pit lane, battling Lowndes for the lead mid-race. God knows how they came back. That Percat speed was insane. Right. Okay. Garth and says the fastest lap of the race is Lowndes and Scaife, I guess, at Phillip Island. There must have been, but you know, late race, fresher tyres, better grip. That's an interesting one. I haven't finished going through the 2011 season because I keep watching the 2006 season, which is way more interesting. 2006 was, yeah, but like 2000, but come on, 2006, it's a good time. 2006 is like all your favorite guys acting like Super 2 rookies. 2011 highlights of Phillip Island. Okay, we can do that. Let's do that. We'll do that now. We're gonna have some YouTube reacts at some stage in the stream. 2011 V8 Supercars Phillip Island. The race, not the highlights. Let's go. Right, we'll get always. Let's go. YouTube Firefox. This is all. Let's go.
The first Enduro of the year, and for the first time in 2011, the front row split between the factories. No team Vodafone up the front for the first time in 12 races. Instead, it was FPR's Will Davison and Luke joined by Toll Holden's Garth Tander and Nick.
I like the livery on the 6.
Complete at least 38 of the 113 laps around Phillip Island, and all but 4 of the co-drivers set to start behind the wheel. It's an important start. It's an important start. The start
Ooh.
the cat stalling on the front row.
GT Black. That looks cool.
The crew working at back to life. Furcat though relegated to a pit lane start as they
Ooh. Damn. 2011 HRT. Dude.
Thompson given a touch up by his stablemate Mark Scape, but still into third on lap 2.
Bit of biff, bit of barge. Dumbrell stuck it up there.
The Jiu-Jitsu series leader then taking McIntyre for second, while Alan Simonson overshot the turn.
Bye-bye.
Stalking Youlden for the lead, and again slipped past at the head.
Andrew Thompson, 2011. What a guy. Youlden just letting him through. Dropping away.
Canto also serving a drive-through for dangerous driving in the pits, while at the front, a familiar sight, Team Vodafone fighting. Thompson back past Scape on lap 32.
It's lap 32.
By lap 40 was Team Vodafone 1 and 2 from Youlden, Furcat and Cam McConville. Garth Tander and James Courtney happy to jump into 2 top
Garth and
five.
Furcat on the clawback. Starting last.
47, Lowndes in for Scape on 48.
No safety cars. I mean, it is Phillip Island. It's going to be hard to have a safety car.
Whincup also jumped in on 48. That is after Thompson got the door open. In time, Lowndes taking the lead. Tander fighting Davison for third.
Get it done, GT. Get it done.
As the race moved past the halfway point, a familiar story. Craig Lowndes holding off Vodafone's stablemate Jamie Whincup until the first safety.
Yay! Phillip Island doing its thing. It's a bird race.
GT giving it everything to catch Lowndes.
Wow. Go Garth. Whoa. Whoa.
The leaders going at it. Lowndes attempting a pass at turn 1 but couldn't make it stick. He was luckier at the hay shed the very next lap. He's got position, but Tander hangs on, tries to make sure there's a ton and a half in the way. Now he yields. 30 laps to go. Whincup closing in on the 2 battling at the front and finally picking off Tander. Good job, Tander. He continues to hold
The final spot of the podium.
Back to Vodafone 1 and 2 with 24
No?
laps to go. Whincup 4 seconds behind.
So what happened to Garth?
4 cars ahead of them, but yet to pit.
SVG.
Another spot to Van Gisbergen, who then passed Whincup for second. Inside now, job done. The gears went about tracking
Bloody
down
hell.
the lead while GT went straight on.
Oh.
Van Gisbergen though with the drama on lap 107. It's not turning, it's vibrating, and he's very unhappy.
Oh.
Gisbergen was just trying to hold on to second, but he couldn't do it. Jamie getting him on the second last lap. Lowndes, though, was in control and defended his 500 title.
What happened to GT? He just kind of threw it away. Tire conditions, maybe. 15 seconds. They must have had an issue, or maybe tire deg or something. Alright. We kept queuing. Who would have heard of that? SVG was fast, but had no smarts back then. Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you expect? Like, he's younger, he's less experienced than all the other guys, so. But, you know, that stuff has to be taught as well. Taught and learned, and it's not easy for him to learn all that. So, but yeah. Back then, he went 110% Phillip Island. We know the tires will die immediately. Yeah. That's it. Phillip Island is weirdly high deg. Probably because the wind. Wind's not good on having just Lowndes in 09. Okay. Let's have a look at that. Lowndes 2009. Well, Lowndes and Wink up 5th. Just not a great result. But, you know, Will Davis and Garth Tander. So that's insane. All right, let's watch 2009 Phillip Island. Is there a highlights? I'm just seeing clips. There's only clips. There's just the finish for 2009. They lost the clutch at Bathurst. That's why they finished 5th. Oh, is that what I was looking at? Oh, yeah, okay. 2nd at Phillip Island is what I saw. Okay, they lost the clutch. All right. Fair enough. I don't know why I looked at it and I thought the 5th was Phillip Island, because I guess I was looking for a slightly worse result. Yeah. Oh, I had a thing that I was gonna talk about it, but I know I have the list on my other phone, which is flat at the moment because it's on for 5 days and then it goes flat. Go on Discord, okay. I will. I do not have it turned on, but I will turn it on. You sent the highlights. Okay, cool. Is it not on YouTube? Because I'm looking at it on YouTube and there's just like little bits. There's like season highlights, but it's just like clips of Phillip Island 2009. That was the one that Andrew Jones got his podium at 2009 Phillip Island. 2009? I think so. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Andrew Jones, BJR, Jason Richards. It's booting up. Nah. Alright. Oh, here we go. Yep. You sent a thing. Okay. LNH 500 and Bathurst 1000. Okay. We'll get that loaded up. Is this gonna run an no ad. Alright. I will share and we will watch. Boop boop. Okay, probably copyrighted music. I'm not getting pinged for this. Oh, there's a crash. I have actually seen 2009 Bathurst, so I know roughly what happens. Who's head spinning around? Max Wilson or Brad? What is with these? All right, is that Fabian? Oh, Stevie J. Damn, dude. This is 09? I thought, okay, I haven't watched it in a while, alright? I haven't watched it in a while. Transitions. I just watched something like a Crash compilation, pretty much. Super 2 teams entered in the Bathurst 1000. Oh, and that was where Winterbottom and Richards' day was over. I mean, it was over. No, it was over to begin with. Okay, you sent me another thing. Oh, the Driver A race. Yep. Oof. Oh, that's... They didn't get it on the podium. What was I thinking of? Oh, it might have been one of the A and B races. Oh, yep. There goes Lowndes. Qualifying A spins there, okay. Whoa, Jesus Christ. He's lost the front. One of the tires is gone. But that was incredibly fast there. Bloody hell, Lethal. GRM doing its best to make a mess. Jack Perkins doing his best to get fired at the end of the season. And what was that? The Wing Cup car. They didn't share. Somebody else drove that one. James Thompson, I think you said. And wait, that's a clip. Oh yeah, because it was Bathurst and all that. All right, you sent me a thing. The Driver A race. Cool niche race. Supercars don't upload. Yeah, but is that highlights or is that the full race? Hang on. 2009 Richards crashed with the Autobahn car. Yeah, Jason Richards on the front straight. Not me, so it's any full race. Yeah, I don't think I can show that. I mean, even though the Supercars haven't put it up, I don't want to have a chance of them pinging me because then that means people can't watch the stream back in the Supercars don't really ping me for it's highlights. If I'm just watching highlights, if I watched a full race, I'd probably get pinged. So I'm trying not to do that. If it's highlights, I can watch the highlights. But I think you said Driver A race. So let's try. Was that 2008? I think you sent 2008 Phillip Island Driver A race highlights. Might have been too short as well. That's 2011, and that's IndyCar in 2008. I mean, all right. So there's no 09 highlights. Yeah, it's weird, and it's just like, where's the 09 clip? But it's like what we were talking about. There's no. They don't really post any full races from 2008 to 2010 for some reason. But you get like all of 07, all of 06, all of like most of 05. It's no 2009. Maybe I'm putting the wrong word here. Maybe LNH 500 is the right. What the heck? What the fuck? That is not what I typed. Stupid thing. L and H 500. Is it because I typed and? Maybe I pressed the wrong button or something. L&H Saturday practice highlights. Okay. There's a finish for L&H 500 2009. Apparently the finish was really good. Apparently. An unlikely finish. Alright, maybe I might watch that. But not the highlights. Alright, I'll show that clip. So it's the end. The finish what you're talking about. Okay, we'll watch the 2009.
4.5 kilometres of racing to come. We're nearly done for the first half.
And Swing Cup in the lead.
Clouds in control, turn one. Tander hunting him down. It's under a second now.
Yep.
A little bit of rain just starting to drizzle out there at the moment, but nothing like we thought might happen.
Guess it'll be Garth in the car. He's getting close.
He's at him.
He got a slow leak in the tire or something. Let. Oh! Oh! Yeah. What the hell? Huh. Tires are shot, probably. I think that's what you're talking about. From nowhere, from second to first. Oh, okay. There we go. Front left tire. Yep. Lowndes choked. Delamination front left, I think. Did he just, well, you think it's his fault? Well, I suppose he's driving the car, isn't he? So can't blame the car for the tire going down. You can blame the setup, but you know, he did a whole race right up until the second to last lap and last lap, and tire fell away. Yeah, a bit too hard on that stint. Yeah, well, that's it. You only need to win at the end of the race. That's the only time to be winning the race. Tander was saving his tires like 5 seconds back. Yep. And then he's just like, go, 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 go. Pow, got him. There you go. Tander is just us. Tander was a smart racer. Still is a smart racer. Like you don't see him. He's very calculated. And I'm gonna go into more detail next stream, which I guess QR is. It's gonna be like a post QR. What do you call it? Debrief. But I might also try and go into my my tier list for the best drivers and supercars of all time. And Garth Tander, yeah, if he had a AAA car, he'd be the guy. Yeah, but he just drove for like teams that weren't good enough for most of his career. And he still won 50, 58 wins, something like that, and just went down as like one of the best to do it. He was like, he drove for GRM for too long, but and then drove for HRT for too long. He was such a smart racer. And that 2007 HSV car, yeah. I mean, he finally got the car he deserved, and he did such a good job with it too. And in 06, he had a shot at the championship too. And the car died on him at Oran Park, which meant that he had to start from the back. What happened in the second race? He DNF'd, so he had to start from the back in the second race. Yeah, so Oran Park was a disaster. And 06 Bathurst happens. 06 Sandown, I think something bad happened to them there as well. Just the enduro season was a joke. 06 or 07? I think we're talking about 06, right? They were dominating and suspension failed. At Sandown, right? Because Scafie put it on pole. No, Garth put it on pole at Sandown. Scafie put it on pole at Bathurst. Yeah, just like, I mean, I'm pretty sure the entire of the 2006 season was a horrible prank on HRT. It's just kind of the story to follow. Like, they have fast cars. Like, I saw Todd Kelly won the first race at Oran Park. Lowndes right on his hammer. Todd driving like a champ, holding him up, doing everything it took to get that win, and nailed it. Goes into the next race, gets knocked off in the reverse grid race, and I'm not sure what happens in the third one. I haven't seen it yet, but just a cruel prank on HRT to have the fastest car all year and have everything go wrong non-stop, apart from what? When Todd starts clawing it back, Todd had the lucky one because he wasn't driving a HRT car at Bathurst and Sandown. Then has a great run at Gold Coast and pretty much really nice clean run to the end of the year. And Scaife continues to be unlucky for the rest of the season. Though, I feel bad for him, yeah. Garth is one of those guys who probably should have been a multi-time champion. It looks like Rick and Lowndes kind of lucked their way into it. Rick was having a good run, and Lowndes was having a good run there, but they weren't the best guys. Like, it looks like Garth was just like the best guy. It's hard to tell. Todd too slow at Bathurst. Okay. Problem is with the 2006 race is it is not long enough. In the highlights that I've seen on KO, I was like, more happened. I know this. I watched it live. Winker passed him off the restart. Really? God. Todd should be better than Winker in 06. Like, come on. 2006 Bathurst on. Yeah. Okay. But it depends if it's like a cut down version, because I think they don't always put the full version on YouTube. The full race? Okay, so I'll watch that then. No cut ups, yeah. Because I specifically remember when Scafie crashed off the start, it took forever to find out what happened. We were waiting for like half an hour to find out what happened because it took ages to get the footage from Jack's car. So we didn't know what happened. We just saw Scapes driving, gets cleaned up, but we don't know what happened until like half an hour later. We see Jack's car footage, even though his car is in the garage. Took ages to get the footage, and then we actually saw it. But in the cut in the shortened version on KO, it's like immediate, and I'm like, and I think it was like, yeah. So KO Bathurst, don't watch them, because if they're on YouTube, watch the full thing. Every Bathurst is 6 hours long. We don't need a 3-hour version. Jim Richards hits the ball, yeah. And after that, he stopped. He knew. He screwed up, and he didn't and Ryan Briscoe didn't get to drive the car, because Jimmy smacked it into the wall. So yeah, time done. 7 hours, 13 minutes. The best 7 hours and 13 minutes of your life. Probably. Oh. What else happened? Oh, Murphy put it in the fence. I remember that. And my face was just like Cameron McConville's face. Was McConville driving? McConville was driving, right? Because Murph was the one that had the reaction. 2006 shootout is on YouTube too. It was Murph. Yeah, I thought Murph was driving. Wait. I thought we saw. Yeah, because Murph was in the pits and he had the reaction. But also Radisic's crash. Radisic's crash was like, oh my God, is he okay? Because he went so hard in that fence. The front was crumpled so badly. Gave him like spinal damage. And, oh, Radisic, dude. Seeing him on, like, gritting his teeth, trying to get reverse. Oh, yeah. Oh, there are some Baathists that you just like. Did he screw up? I can't remember. And the day before Mark Porter died, yeah, I did a video on that one as well. Because I think it was the day after the day before. Was it the day before he had the crash and it got confirmed on the Sunday? I think that's what it was. I think I have Mark Porter on my history. Mark Porter, racing driver. Yeah, and he was mates with Johnson and Winker, PD, all them guys. Really? Okay. I mean, he's like roughly their age, maybe a little bit older. 32. He's just one of those good guys. So, okay, during a race on Friday the 6th of October 2006, Porter clipped a wall, causing him to lose control of his car on a curve, coming to a stop sideways on the track, with his driver's side facing the oncoming cars. A number of cars evaded Porter's stalled car before Chris Alishajan's car connected with the tail of Porter's. Driver David Clark approached the scene at 180 kilometers an hour, slid his own car sideways, with his front right side crumpling the driver's side of Porter's passenger compartment. Both Porter and Clark were unconscious and critically injured when the safety marshals arrived. The race was cancelled and all the racing events were suspended for 2 hours. Yeah, the police were there. It was a serious thing. Taken by ambulance to Bathurst Base Hospital. Later that day, airlifted to Royal Prince Alfred Hospital in Sydney. Serious head and chest injuries. He died in the late afternoon of Sunday, the 8th of October, 2006. Yeah, because we lost Peter Brock. I remember where I was when I was a kid. We were on holiday, and my dad's like, Peter Brock died. And I was like, what? What? That's crazy. And then I went and I found a TV. I don't know how I did it, but I found a TV and I watched the news thing. And then we go to Bathurst, and then someone dies at Bathurst. I was like, whoa, like this is serious. People can die at Bathurst. So it's crazy. And was that the last person to die at Bathurst? I think it was. Because I think they probably introduced safety things to stop it from happening. And yeah, number 111 was run by Paul Cruikshank Racing. Super Black ran it as well. Mark Porter Trophy, Hamilton 500, Hamilton 400. And apparently Mark's brother Andrew Porter, a former truck racer, contested the 2007-08 NZV8 series in the Hydrolink number 111 Ford BF Falcon. And Ashley Cooper died at Adelaide 2008. Yeah, that one as well. And that was a big hit as well. Yeah, turn 8. He's just gone in bad, and it was. I don't. Maybe I'm just getting old or something, but I don't like watching some of these crashes anymore. Actually, one of the worst ones to see, Henry Surtees, in like Formula 3 or something, before they had the halo, a wheel came off a car and hit him in the head. Game over. That one was like a freak accident and devastating. Like, dude, shit like that just happens. But Mark Porter, there was something about it. Oh, when I was a kid, at the Adelaide 500, we'd watch the Konica cars at the end of the day. I think it was like Sunday night, Sunday evening. Main game races happened. Some of those 70s F1 accidents. This isn't 70s. This is like 2008 sort of time. This is like relatively modern Formula One. That's what was fucked about it. But Mark Porter, when I was a kid, it was the only car I could recognize was the black and yellow Hydrolink car going around. I think it might have been a VX at the time, been like 2004, something like that. And because I was such a small kid, I couldn't see over the fence, and also, I'd have to be like lifted up to see over the fence. And you couldn't really see anything because the sun was setting, and you'd be blinded by the light. But the only car I could pick out of all the cars going straight past was the black and yellow Hydrolink car. And so, I think I made that connection later in life rather than at the time. But that was like an interesting thing that I noticed. Mark Porter also was able to run the Brightech license in 2006, I think, at Pukekohe, and he just ran his own car at that one. I don't know if they had like the weight deal on the Super 2 cars running in main game, but Mark Porter did get that opportunity to have a main game run. I think he had some issues in that round, so it wasn't the most impressive time, but that's that's main game for you in those days. But yeah, interesting stuff. Food I need to eat, and we're running for 3.5 hours, so I might want to wrap it up in a second. And probably watch the rest of the Hungarian Grand Prix as well if it hasn't already finished. Hamilton brands himself absolutely useless and damning new low. Senna's helmet post-crash? No. I guess I could watch it. I'll show my reaction to it. I'll look it up. But now hang on. The thing is that the one where it had like the shock absorber or the spring or something? Just a picture is fine. I'm gonna give myself nightmares, apparently. And Senna helmet crash. There's only one. Oh yeah, there's like a little hole in the helmet. That's what people are showing. What was it like to be it? And they're showing this like it's like gone straight through his head. I think that's what they're sort of showing. Yeah. And that was a cursed weekend too, 1994 Imola. Because so many suspension piece pierced his helmet. There was what happened first? Was it Rubens Barrichello? I think, or was it David Coulthard? I think it was Rubens Barrichello. Had like a really bad crash. All right. I don't think he did the rest of the weekend. And then I think it was in practice or something. Then you've got Roland Ratzenberger had like and it's all the same freaking corner. Picture of him airborne was cooked. Yeah. Roland Ratzenberger had a crash and he died. And then Ayrton was like shocked at that. He was like, "Oh my god, we got to do something." And he was just sort of gone after that. Ayrton was, and then because he was getting pole every race in that Williams, and something about I can't remember the details about that, about what caused the crash, but I have investigated it. I've got how to build a race car by how to build a car by Adrian Newey, and there's like so much information. Yeah, well, because they changed everything. In 1993, Williams was a bulletproof machine, and then in 1994, they just changed everything. But yeah, I had Damon Hill in that, and he almost won the championship in '94. But he just wasn't a good enough driver. He was a crap driver, and or maybe not. It's not that he was a crap driver. He just was not worthy. Like I think the Williams should have won the championship from like 1994, 1995, and yeah, he wasn't an elite driver. He just sort of ended up with an opportunity. Yeah, the Williams drove him. He ended up with an opportunity to win championships and screwed up 94, 95, 97. He should have been a 4-time champion, but he wasn't. Can't stand him. Yeah. Because he acts like an expert when he wasn't that good. It's I don't know. Yeah. All right. We're gonna wrap it up. All right. And so yeah, I was gonna wrap this thing up at like not Damon, Michael. Really can't stand Michael Schumacher. I don't know. I find him interesting. I saw a clip where he was talking about like being too aggressive or driving too close to the edge, and he said, well, that's how you win championships, is by driving close to the edge and pushing the limits. And it's hard to say that that's wrong, you know, to have these guys like Ayrton Senna was like that, and people love Ayrton Senna and his legacy, but he was like, he was one of those, he was a nice guy. He was like, you know, the things he did for charity, but he was also like a bit of an asshole as well. So I've heard. So when Senna died, that's why people worship his legacy. If he didn't die, then he wouldn't have gone down in history as this martyr. He's not looked at the way he is looked at now. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Schumacher, And obviously Schumacher's got a different situation. He's in a bit of a situation himself, where he can't speak for himself, but he's technically still alive. Yeah. Yeah. He died at the peak of powers, so everyone was like, what if? When it comes to F1 and takes like this, Adrian Aiden Millwood and Ned Zos. They're my guys. I don't know if you've seen Aiden Millwood, but he's got some really good videos about the hypotheticals. What if Senna didn't die? And I think Ned Zos, he's got some really great takes on Formula One, and so he's got some really good. A lot of what I know about Formula One comes from those two guys, because I didn't watch it at the time. He's an elite YouTuber. Aiden Millwood, he's really good. I haven't watched the punt to win Rick Kelly, Craig Lowndes one because I don't want to. I don't want to do that. So don't just piss me off. Yeah, well, Nedzo, he pours boiling hot lava takes, and he's just like that. About the ranking. Yeah. Yeah, well. What was it? What's his? He has a certain approach, and that's why it's ranked a certain way. Million out of context stats to prove his point. All right, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the problem is like when you use like certain theories with things, you have to use it everywhere. You can't just use it where it's most convenient to you. It's a thing. So yeah. Yeah, all right, I'm gonna wrap it up, and I'll catch you. I guess next weekend, next Sunday, I'll do a post QR. Same time next week, 8 o'clock Sunday night next weekend. I'll see you then, dude. Thanks for tuning in again, and yeah, we'll catch you next time. Bye bye.